Hello, everyone, and welcome to Smashbox TV's podcast number 84. I'm your host, Terry Miller, the Disc Golf Guy, joined here in studio, late as normal, Johnny V.
I hit record right at 9 and it just didn't go. It's
Yeah.
not my fault. I had to stop it and restart it.
I know, you only had 6 days and
21
hours to get ready.
So you're telling me I should go live like 5 minutes early and then just sit there, let the people sit and watch nothing for 5 minutes?
You tell me.
I'm just saying. I mean, I don't know.
Anyway,
You're the one that complains about having too much extra.
Matt Siri will be joining us on the show tonight. He's going to be talking about the Nick Hyde Memorial event. He just hosted the AM weekend this past weekend. In 2 weeks, he's going to be hosting the Nick Hyde Professional Weekend, where he's got most of the top players that are going to be in attendance. Looking forward to being there personally, as the Disc Golf Guy video blog will be doing our thing. Joe Hyde and myself will be there.
You're going there?
Yes, I'm going to go there for the second year in a row.
Did you tell everybody that you're going to be there? I mean,
not everybody, not yet, but they're going to know now.
Some people might decide to withdraw from the event.
They very well could. They're not going to if I'm doing what I do on Yuli's picks, though, which is killing it. So we're going to talk about Yuli's picks tonight. We're going to catch up with Dana Vici, of course, here in just a few minutes. We're also going to possibly talk to Zoe Andyke. She's out fluttering around as the butterfly that she is, and if it works out, we'll be getting another update from her. So without further ado, talking a little bit about this weekend's results. We'll bring them up in just a moment. Let's see if we can get Dynamite.
Boom goes the dynamite.
Dana, how you doing?
Johnny, is that you?
It is.
Yo, what's going on?
Not much. How you doing?
I'm doing all right.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Good. I'm glad
Just
you're
hanging
doing.
out, you know, a little Tuesday night action. 8:45 rolled along, and I said, you know what? I better get ready for this show. So
That's
so you're a good 15 minutes ahead of Johnny.
I was gonna say that was 10 minutes ahead of me. No.
Oh yeah. Yep. I'm ready to roll.
I do the real work around here.
Yeah, you do.
Show notes, getting Yuli's picks numbers set up, getting the stream going, running cable every week.
Yeah. You're a real workaholic.
What do? You flaunt in, sit down, sit on
great picks.
sit on Facebook for about an hour,
Make great
and
picks.
and then say, okay, let's go.
Anyway,
Terry, why don't you go ahead and tell everybody what you've been working on for the last how long?
for the last few minutes, I have been
probably 20 minutes.
not quite. For the last few
on.
minutes, I've been in fact trying to project a new ratings update, and normally I'm the last guy to care about ratings of any kind. However, there's some serious implications here. In a few months, there's going to be a team-based event, one of the favorite team-based events found anywhere in the country, and that's the Sandy Point Midwest Team Invitational. It's gone through a couple different names. It is essentially the exact same thing you see from the Southwest Team Invitational that takes place down over at Morley Field year after year. And it's an amazing time. It's at Sandy Point Resort, as I said, in northern Wisconsin. We have 8 different teams with 12 competitors, 5 open, 3 masters, or 5 open, 2 masters, 3 advanced, 1 woman, and 1 grandmaster, and something like that. And I've got a guy that's on the bubble in that.
He's
in the advanced / open.
He's probably going to be 970 exactly. And you're gonna have to make some tough decisions.
We'll see. We're working on some stats. For those of you that don't know, the PDGA ratings update is scheduled to come out 1 week from today. So I was just trying to get ahead of the game a little bit and see if I could figure out some of these ratings.
You're pulling strings.
No,
you're trying.
No strings.
You're trying.
No strings.
You tried.
Just a few inquisitions.
Oh, God, we gotta be careful.
What did you offer Chuck Kennedy to make sure your boy stays under 970?
Nothing more than my normal love and admiration and gracious thanks for all the things that him and the rest of the ratings gurus do. That's all. That's all I can offer.
Yeah.
And stuff. And I already laugh at his jokes. So
that's good enough.
Yeah. So that's what I was doing a little bit of research on, which again still sounds like more research than you were doing.
No. Well, Chuck's actually pretty funny, and let's you know what? Let's talk about my research. I'm going to
Let's do
start
it.
out with there was actually an American Tour disc golf event down in Texas that I'm not going to talk about, but I am going to talk about the Texas Women's Championship.
Are you sure you don't want to talk about the American Disc Golf Tour event? I mean, it would be quick.
Are there results posted? No, that's my question. Are there results posted somewhere?
Yeah, somewhere they are.
There's some
Okay.
results somewhere.
There's a Dropbox with the results, and I believe there were 2 open players.
Oh.
That's why I said it'd be quick. I don't know who won. I don't know who played.
That's more results posted than the other American Tour event that happened at Pendleton King in Augusta. I don't know, like a month ago.
Yeah,
so.
there was a Dropbox. They have their own rating system, I heard. So
Wow.
yeah, because they're not PDGA, so they're not getting ratings, but somehow ratings came up. There's a huge long thread on Disc Golf Course Review. It's relatively amusing if you want to go through and read it. But let's not talk about them. Let's talk about something Dana wants to talk about.
I want to talk about the ladies.
Hey, ladies.
Hey.
Yep, the ladies that played the Texas Women's Championship down in Texas. You guessed it, Johnny. Paige Pierce, she might not have picked up a disc for the last month. Who knows? But she showed up. She played. She aced. She keeps the good play rolling. First place over Sarah Holcomb. And Madison Walker, T-Dogs girl, third place. Good shooting. And also shooting well was I didn't say shooting well. I said shooting well was Tina. I don't know how to say her last name.
Stenitis.
Yeah. Tina finished in second out of 13 advanced women behind Valerie Mandejuanjo.
Yes.
I picked up a little Spanish when I went down to Mexico.
Clearly.
last week. But congratulations to all the winners there. And yeah, I think they had a little. They're just north of 50 women out there, so that's pretty cool. And again, congrats to Paige on the victory. Here in the Midwest on Saturday, I'm not talking about your tournament, Terry. I'm going to give a shout out to the Discontinuum Club Challenge, which had, I think, 225 players. I didn't make it out. I had some prior engagements going on, but the winner out of, I think, 6 clubs or so was J-Town Joliet Disc Golf. They absolutely dominated, so big shout out to the J-Towners.
I'm glad they could all arrange a release on that same day.
Ouch.
Hey-oh!
Oh, he went there.
I did.
Was their team captain their parole officer?
Now see, you can. That's too much. You can subtly jab.
Oh, okay.
But
That's what I heard earlier, so that's all.
anyway,
We love the J-Town crew.
we do. Some of them were even at the event this weekend.
Speaking of J-Town crew, Al Hermosillo, Lefty Al, came up to Wisconsin and played Terry's event at, what is it, the Skyline Classic?
Skyline Classic, yeah.
Skyline. What's Skyline? Is that a...
I see
that a
where you're
company?
going with that, Dano. So, yes.
Okay. Anyways, Skyline is Terry's clothing company that is now defunct, but it still has events named after it. Al Hermosillo went up there and, like I said, dominated. Who else played on Saturday?
Illinois, David Heasley, Illinois' own.
Yep.
Sean Butler from Illinois as well.
Yeah.
So really the top 3 guys came from south of the border, stomped their way up, and took away some plastic and cash from us. So Sean Butler, Chris Herron, local pro. He was the best Wisconsin finisher. And then Robbie Olson, Mr. Crusher himself.
Yeah, I saw Robbie shot good. Shout out to DG Mike for that last cash. He said his putting really failed him, and he missed a 12-footer on his last hole. He was a little salty about, but he did have nice things to say about Terry's events. He runs a really smooth event, and something about pizza between rounds, and a lot of nice things to say out of DG Mike from Illinois.
Well, good. And just to clarify, second place finishers tied for second place, Heasley and Sean Butler, they have Illinois addresses. They live just moments, just seconds below that Illinois-Wisconsin border, and they both get to come play and do work and do amazing things out at that course. So big shout out to both of them for being great stewards and ambassadors of the course and of disc golf in that area. So good to see.
Can you answer me this? How many fires did Sean Butler start? Every event I've been out there that has been in cold weather, he's out there in the morning or between rounds tending to in fire pits.
just randomly brushing the woods.
The fire starter. No, I'm not sure on that. I will say he helped out prior to the event. He also did some painting for me regarding the drop zone and the island hole we have on 13. So huge help. I'm not sure if he was tending to any fires or not out there, but he's definitely a big help. And like I said, a great ambassador and steward of the course in that area. So little course karma for those boys. I'd like to think where we picked all those people, we kind of had a separate picks. I know I picked Heasley to win it, and I know he finished second, so wasn't too far off there.
Yeah. So moving on, out on the West Coast, the disc go ball. I can't tell you how many times people have thought I said disco and when I say disc golf. But the disco ball out in Bend, Oregon, was a 2-day B tier, 1 round each day. Winning the ladies' side, 14 women. Val Jenkins, and she shot pretty good. She ended up 7 under par, beating Zoe Andike, good friend Zoe. Zoe finished in second place. Zoe was +4 in second place, so 11 shots behind Val. So good shooting to both of those ladies. On the men's side, it looked like it was a 2-man race between Scott Withers and Chandler Fry. Scott Withers did end up pulling out the victory and going home with $700, and Chandler Fry 2 strokes behind, won $480. Friend of the show, Mr. Bevel, Nate Doss, finished in 4th place. Looks like he was 22 under. So,
a little surprising to see him that far out of first place in that in that size of an event. You'd think he would be a little bit closer, especially being in Bend. I mean, clearly his priorities are all beveled up.
Hey-o.
Yeah, you never know. You have bad weekends. Maybe he hasn't been practicing. Maybe whatever. Nate's still he's still top 5 player in the world, and this could be one of his,
It's a warm-up event. That's all it really is probably for him.
Yep. But what else did we have? The Rickster, Richard Sakibom Wysocki, won his 3rd straight A tier. 3 weeks ago, he won in Cali. Last week, he won in Indiana. And this last weekend, he was now down in Florida. So went from Sacramento to South Bend, Indiana, and then down to Florida for the Jacksonville Open. And the Rickster crushed it, winning quite handily.
Yeah, he lit up the first round with like a 1070 rated round and just kind of cruised from there.
Yep.
So
that's basically what I saw there. I think Schustrick ended up in 2nd place, but I did see that Will posted on social media that he I think he won like $600 in skins after the tournament. So not a bad weekend for not winning the tournament. 2nd place finish, he got paid all right, I'm pretty sure, and then won those skins. So pretty cool. Here, I actually on Sunday ran a fun little event that ended up not being all that fun. St. Jude doubles at Highland Park in Joliet. We took $5 from every person's entry, so $10 a team, and it's being donated to St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. But 32 players came out, and I'm going to give a big hug to everybody that came out because it ended up being a miserable day. The high of the day was supposed to be like 50, 51. It didn't end up getting into the 50s until like 6 o'clock at night when we were done for a few hours. But it absolutely rained all second round. Maybe the last 4 holes of the first round. Basically a pretty brutal day, but 32 people came out. We raised just under $350, so that was pretty cool. I need to get going on my St. Jude fundraising. I just haven't had the time to commit like I did last year, but so yeah, it was a fun event. And then also in Illinois, I want to give a shout out to the Main Street Mandatory Tournament, PDGA C tier. They also had to battle the rain, but they had a sold out field of 100 for the second year in a row. Mr. Flick Disc, he's got a little blog and webpage. David Reed runs that event, and he goes all out. And I haven't been there, but I can tell that he runs a really, really good tournament. At least he preps really well, gets tons of sponsors, and everything is all ready to go ahead of time. So shout out to him. And then I believe Alan Wagner won the open division at that event.
Awesome.
Speaking of the St. Jude fundraiser, as we've talked about a couple different times, Smashbox is going to be teaming up with Nate and Ledgestone in terms of doing a 24-hour podcast-a-thon. We're going to be looking to finalize those dates soon. And one consideration was as to whether or not if it really matters if we go before or after the St. Jude event. I mean, St. Jude will take money any time of the year, obviously.
Will they?
Yeah, I think they will. They'll take money anytime, and we know that the Ledgestone event isn't actually until August.
Yeah.
So we may even go after the St. Jude event that's taking place in California. So we'll look at our schedules and update everyone there. I did just today, finally, I had set up, I'll admit, I got a little confused. I logged in. I had a login from last year. I wanted to create like a Smashbox team, and then there's a disc golf guy login or team. I don't know. Either way,
you have like 50 logins for 50 different sites.
I know. But the long and short of it is, and I'll do a screen print to put it out there as I promised my event. There were no aces hit on Sunday's event. And so I had announced ahead of time if no aces were hit, all the money would go to the St. Jude Research Foundation and Hospital. And then so there was none on Sunday. So all of that money went right into the donation. And then Saturday's lone acer, who I believe was Matt Belk, he had gotten the ace on Saturday. It was for about $100, and he graciously donated a fifth of his winnings, as in a sweet $20 bill, back to St. Jude. So I made the whole donation to St. Jude. That's something I was doing before the show, and I got that all put out there, and I'll share it with all of the participants from this last weekend just to show. So there's things have gotten the ball rolling. There was no perfect way to who to credit to. I put it under Skyline Classic, but it's all under the Smashbox umbrella. So
fantastic.
Things are up and running on this end, and we're going to raise some money too when we do this podcast-a-thon. Looking forward to it.
The Skip Ace Fantasy Disc Golf is running a St. Jude League as well, and all the proceeds, half the proceeds for that event, it's a $10 entry fee. You can play all year long. Will go to St. Jude, and we're going to put it under the Smashbox account as well. So it'll be cool. A couple extra bucks. So if you want to join, skipace.com.
There you go. So speaking of fundraising, that's what we've been working on there, Dana. How much are you going to raise this year? Like 10, 20, 40 G?
I got some goals. Hopefully I can I'm looking at between 500 and 1,000 for the PDGA event in Seaside Memorial Day weekend, and then with the Ledgestone, got a goal of 5,000. Okay. So, yeah, I've got a ways to go. I need to run some more events and get out there on the fundraising trail, but I've got some ideas and some fun ways to raise some money, and yeah, we'll see what happens.
Well, people can go out and where can they make donations if they want to do it under the Smashbox name? Where should they go?
Shouldn't you know that?
Oh, I just figured you knew everything. They can go check it out on stjude.org, and then you can click around, and isn't there a stjudediscgolf.org? Does that sound right?
There is a stjudediscgolf.com, which was the event page from last year, and that you should be able to be forwarded to the current page for this year. So stjudediscgolf.com. discgolf.com, and you can search Smashbox, you can search my name, or your favorite pro. And honestly, it's really easy to sign up and fundraise yourself. Maybe your company you work for will match, or just by signing up and then making a Facebook post, you might raise 10, 20, $30, and it all adds up and goes to a pretty good cause. So
yeah, the easiest place, as you said, Dana, stjudediscgolf.com, and that will a couple more links from there, and it'll get you to where you need to be. So go check it out.
Yep.
It's asking on the board, any love for the Open at Woodville? Scott Linthicum is asking.
I did pull up the no love for them. Sorry,
No love. That's it.
No, I pulled up the results, and it looks like Bradley Williams squeaked one out against Miles Seaborn. Followed up by Matt Oram, so not winning Matt Oram. He's been on a pretty good hot streak lately, so if there were someone, I would have picked him. George Castillo, Matt Hall, Cameron Messerschmidt, and Eagle Wynn McMahon all tied for fourth at 18 under, splitting 275 apiece.
A five-way tie for fourth place. I think there's probably one stroke somewhere that they wish they would have had, or a four-way tie.
Four-way tie.
There's probably one spot where they wish they would have saved a stroke and probably won an extra $100 or $150, but yeah, looks to be good. That was also an A tier, it looks like.
Yep, Johnny McRae played Masters, won that, followed up by Don Smith. So Don is getting his groove on in the Masters again. And was he in the Masters last year?
No, this is
his first year. How do you think Don's going to do in Masters this year?
I think he should be solid. I mean, he's rated just right, just below 1,000 at 997, and I feel like there's a lot of Masters. We've heard it a million times. All three of us have heard it. Oh man, I can't wait to get to Masters. I'm going to kick everyone's butt. I'm going to be the new kid on the block. The problem is, and I'm not picking on Don. I didn't hear him say that, but I know that some of the mentality out there. The problem is there's people like Barry Schultz that play Masters. There's Johnny McRae that play Masters. A Ken Climo. Like, the Masters is not a field you can just you're gonna walk into and dominate no matter who you are. So it'll be funny to see how that plays out throughout the rest of the year. Shasta Chris playing his first year in Masters,
and I think we're gonna see with most of those guys that you just mentioned, we'll see them jumping between the open side, the open field, and then the Masters side, depending on the tournament, and then obviously Pro Tour. I believe most of those guys. Shasta, Don, Johnny, they're going to be on the Pro Tour, so they're going to be playing on the open side, and they're going to be beating plenty of open players. But looks like Johnny had himself a good time playing against the Masters this weekend. It might have been a different story if he was on the open side. It is a different game when you're playing against Bradley Williams, Eagle McMahon, all these young guns. So.
Yeah, I saw someone make a post, and assuming they played all the same courses with all the same layout, I saw earlier in the must have been Sunday night or Monday, someone said, "Oh, Johnny, you should have played Open. You would have won Open." And we all know there's slightly different mentality there, but assuming they played all the same layouts, yeah, Johnny actually had the best score out of all competitors by 2 strokes.
And he shot a 970 rated round
in the middle.
In the middle of that.
Those ratings seem fishy. I mean, if you look at the open side, I'm pulling it up right now. It just doesn't make sense with that high of rated players at the event. Bradley Williams, 1026, 999, 1010 to win an A tier. Yeah, especially with, Miles Seaborn's 1022 rated, Matty O, 1021, Eagle, 1022.
So maybe there's some issue with the initial.
Or maybe the courses just don't yield the greatest ratings. I'm not sure, but those to win an A tier generally, especially when there's some really good players there and some high-rated players, those numbers are not going to net you first place. And,
we'll have Terry log into the back end, fix it all up. And
I'll just ding. That's what I do. And another great example in we see Masters who will dabble back and forth when he needs to, someone like a Jay Redding as well, who was rarely absent from Texas, but he wasn't there this weekend, so.
Yeah, I just saw that Yeti, he's going to be coming to the Rumble here in the Quad Cities, Iowa, Illinois border. It's a big tournament ran by Chase Roberts and Iron Lion, but Jay and Des always come down for it. They Jay's who's from Iowa? Are they both from
They
Iowa?
both are.
Yep.
They both are. Yep.
Yeah. So they come home and then they play the Rumble, but Yeti's actually going to be releasing some special Yeti putter. I don't know, a new stamp or something at the Friday night player party. I did see that all the AM divisions are full at the Rumble. I'm not sure if the Open side is full, but I would highly suggest if you are able to come play that you come play. The courses are awesome. They run a really good event. There's players parties every night. A lot of extra stuff going on. Yeti's doing some Ring of Fire clinic. Dez is doing a ladies clinic with the women of the Quad Cities. I can't remember what the name of the club is called, but it really is shaping up to be a good event, and it has been a good event for the last few years. And if you are an AM player and you want to get some practice in on the AM World courses for next year, you could still play the Open side. I wouldn't mind.
He wouldn't mind. That's nice.
All right, Dana. Well, we will get more information regarding this last weekend's event from the big A tier, the huge event, I should say, that Matt Siri hosted. That was the AM side of the Nick Hyde. We're going to pull him up in just a few moments here and get his scoop and have him talk about what's on the pro side that's coming up in another week or so. So we appreciate your diligence and those hours and hours of research. And thanks for stepping inside tonight.
I take this job seriously, Terry, and you could learn something from me.
I could.
Really?
I'll step up my game.
Cheers, boys.
Cheers.
Have a good night, Dana. So, of course, Dynamite Vitchy getting it done here with our stats and details from around the country. At a certain point, he's going to have to get really picky. I know we're in kind of the bookends of the season at the moment, but when full-fledged season hits and there's 6 or 8 or 10 A tiers and huge events going on all around the country, it's going to be impossible for him to recap all of them. But we're glad he can go out there and
that, or he's going to have to talk like the Micro Machines guy.
Yeah, just have to hammer through them as quickly as possible. In just a few moments, we're going to have Matt Siri join us on the line. Like I said, he was running the AM weekend of the Nick Hyde. It was an event that last year, I should say, between the registrations that he has for the registrations for the upcoming weekend, as well as the registrations from this last weekend, he's already surpassed last year's event by over 100 competitors. So he's obviously doing some pretty big things, and people are loving it. I'm looking forward to get over to Rockwall, Texas, so that we can see the course and film it. I know he's got a couple of us crews that are going to be on site, so we should be able to give you guys a ton of different coverage and action. And in just a few moments, I think
just having an issue with our video to our guests, so we might. It's not sending it out. Do we care if he sees us?
It doesn't matter if he sees us, as long as we can see him.
Everyone can see him, so let's dial him up here.
Okay. It feels weird to say the word dial. I guess you still dial a phone these days, but...
Yeah, you do dial a phone, but you really don't.
Not the way we used to. Not old school, anyway.
No, that's true.
And in just a moment here, we're going to welcome him to the show. Mr. Heiserbaum himself. This is, in fact, Matt Siri.
Matt, how you doing?
Good. How are you guys doing?
We're doing wonderful. You can't see us. We're just having a little issue with some video, but we're gonna be fighting through this.
All
no
right.
big deal.
There we go. We got it. It's probably best you don't see us. How you doing? How you doing tonight, buddy?
I'm doing good. Finally rested up from last weekend.
Yeah. Now let's quickly recap before we preview. Let's recap what was going on this last weekend on the AM side for you.
Sure. So last weekend we had our AM weekend, which for the most part actually featured a similar layout to last year, using both Audubon Park and Garland and Harry Myers. The one downside that with Texas Women's going on, we couldn't offer ladies division, so it was a men's only A tier, similar to the Woodville tournament.
Okay.
So we had 166 competitors out, spanning advanced grandmasters, intermediate rec, and then 3 juniors divisions.
Wow.
Yeah, had a total of 11 juniors out.
Wow, that's pretty impressive.
Had a couple players playing other divisions that could have played juniors also, and actually our advanced winner still qualifies for juniors divisions.
Wow, one thing that speaks of is just how the talent, and I think we're finding this more and more, that whether it's split weekends or split days, that sometimes talent can go find multiple divisions that they're eligible in. And like you said, if you've got someone that's maybe a little bit younger, they can test the waters in an advanced division but still play in a junior division or something like that. I think of an Austin Turner, and when he had done well a few months ago, my thought was, he did well at an A tier, Pro A tier, but once he won AM Worlds, he won it in a juniors, but he's clearly, an advanced caliber competitor and would have been right there with Isaac McDonald and Anthony Barella. So I think the long and short of it is that these players are getting really good, really young.
That's no fair.
That is definitely the case. Even some of those in our juniors divisions were just ridiculously good. Zane Letts is actually one of those examples. 900 rated. He still is, I think, only 15.
Okay.
And he parked and birdied hole 3 at Autobahn, second round of the tournament, which is like 486 foot.
It's all downhill, right?
The slight downhill, not by much.
No, it's not. It's not like Standing Rocks are downhill. Where it's downhill like 200 feet. No.
No, definitely not. And we'll actually get to see Emerson Keith, our advanced winner, pro weekend. He'll be playing Open that weekend also.
Awesome. Okay. Now, was that something that regardless of how he did on the AM weekend, he thought he was going to come back for the pro weekend? Was that something he
Yeah.
Okay.
He had actually already signed up for both weekends. So regardless of how AM weekend went, he had planned on coming out and playing Open weekend.
Okay.
And he's actually been playing Open a little bit this year, but not taking cash. Because he's still a high school student and plays some other sports also.
Yeah, and one thing that's worth noting is everyone should go out and double check where you and your state fit when it comes to accepting cash at a high school level or even at a college level. Yep. I know there's a lot of different stipulations depending on other events you might be involved with. So as a little PSA, go out and inquire with your high school or your college athletics people and find out what that means if you were to be accepting cash at any given event.
Because the part I understand about that is that if it comes in terms of athletic scholarships, that's where it can really become a problem.
Yeah. And like we said, your Barellas, your McDonald's, those two come to mind as well as they move from the amateur ranks into the professional ranks, and that could have different impacts depending on where you are in the future.
Definitely.
All right. You just mentioned, a couple great players. Any particular highlights, maybe even off the course, that you felt were something went exceptionally well, or something you were particularly excited about off the M weekend?
Yeah, well, a couple of things. First of all, the hat I have on, I'm not sure if you guys
Yep.
were able to see this.
Mm-hmm.
Our friends at Boom Disc Golf surprised us with trophy hats for all the division winners that are these black and gold hats with our Heiser Boom logo on the side.
Oh, very nice. I like that. Very clever.
And so we'll have those out for pro weekend also.
Okay.
One of the big keys this year is I wanted to use this year's Nick Hyde Am weekend to kind of prep and lay the groundwork to go trophy only next year.
Okay.
And so we had a total event value when I submitted the PDGA report of 243%.
Wow. Now, explain
and over 200%
explain how that's
of that was in the players packs.
Okay, and that's something that I think can be a really hot topic. Obviously, myself, like you, I used to run a ton more tournaments in my yesteryear. Players packs, there was definitely a push from the PDGA, and as the sport continued to grow, to go heavier on players packs and maybe a little less concerned about payout in terms of the amateur divisions. And as you're just saying, nearly 200% of their entry, a 200% payback in the player pack alone, that may not leave a huge payout, but everybody wins that way. Everybody that showed up, you can take literally last place or third from last, and you're still going home ahead of the game.
Oh, definitely. And that was, it was fun as we were doing early check-ins because I set up the merch, but then I also had like 5 tables worth of stuff for the players packs. And so players were getting halfway through the players packs And I was like, now, if you go down to the next guy, he'll get you through the rest of it. And I kept hearing, there's more? There's more.
That's
And
great.
it was awesome. I'll tell you, it makes tough for packing. I just ended up shipping a whole lot down to Dallas because when you're dealing with like 540 discs and 360 shirts and then a whole bunch of other stuff, it's a whole lot to pack and travel with if you're not hauling a big trailer.
Wow. Well, it sounds like they definitely got their value and their money's worth out of everything. What are players looking forward to in 2 weeks? It's not this weekend, but the following weekend. What can players expect and look forward to there?
Well, just like last year, we've got $10,000 added cash. One of the things I'm looking forward to is that we're able to feature strictly Harry Myers, which is definitely more of a championship level course.
Okay.
Innova has been very gracious this year and donated brand new chains for all the baskets. The East Dallas Disc Golf Association went through and repainted all the yellow bands and put new stickers on them. So the course is absolutely looking in tip-top shape.
And now I think I've heard you say there's going to be a few slight adjustments in terms of a few different pin positions possibly from what I recorded last year when I was out there.
Yeah. Let me think here. We've got hole 11, 15, 16, 17, and 18 will all be in new pin positions this year. And I should have the caddy book uploaded and online tomorrow for all the players to view.
Okay.
It has just a little bit of an element of change and some added distance on some of those holes with some different out-of-bounds features. So it's just going to give some new variety to the course that we haven't used in any tournament setting before.
Do you feel like the course is going to be that much tougher, or will it play a little bit easier? Or is it tough to tell?
It'll play tougher. Hole 17 is going to become more of a true par 5 with the basket moving back into the peninsula that was about 200 feet behind where it was last year.
Wow. And that was already hole 17. Wasn't that 880 feet or something like that last year?
Yeah, right around 900 feet.
Okay.
But it's open enough that it really, for a lot of people, it was playing as a very easy 3.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
I know.
Maybe not a lot of
videos.
people.
A few of those guys. We're not going to go a lot. 900 feet. I mean, that's still, yeah, that's 2 good 450-foot shots, and then you have to be within that circle and hit the putt if it's really about 900 feet.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it plays downhill quite a ways. And so once you get up over the hill, the smart shot for most players is to play an Anheuser or a big flex shot out into the middle, and then you've got a downhill look. I remember Bobby Music telling me last year he put his second shot long into the water, which is at the start of the peninsula.
Yeah.
So it's definitely one that can be threed by a lot of the top players, but for players that don't have quite as big of an arm, it's going to be a more challenging 3 in that short position.
Okay.
And so by moving it back, you're going to force more of a better placement shot on your first shot, and then kind of a risk reward of whether you're going to run at the peninsula with the risk of OB around it.
Okay. So first of all, we're very excited. Joe Hyde and myself will be down there recording, and you've put an emphasis on media on a number of your events. What do you have planned for this?
Yeah, I'm going to have both you guys and the Jomez brothers coming in. Being that they're Texas-based, it's very easy for me to get them in. And so we'll have both of you guys featuring different cards all 3 days of the tournament.
All right.
That's the other big change to the Pro Weekend this year is that we're going 3 days on tee times instead of doing 3 rounds in 2 days.
Now, somebody had just reached out to me the other day privately asking as to when they should come out if they want to check in on the action. Is there a consistent start time for the final group for each 3 of the 3 days?
The plan right now is 3:30.
Okay.
If we get a whole lot of additional registrations rolling in, because I do still have about 70 spots left, it's possible that could get pushed back to 4.
Okay.
I'm also planning on featuring the ladies as the final card the first day. So you'll have your open men probably before them, and then 3 to 4 cards of ladies to close out the afternoon.
Awesome. Very cool. And how is your registration? I know you said you still have some overall spots. How does that kind of break down by division if somebody still wanted to get signed up?
Sure, and let me get that up real quick. I know right offhand I've still got 17 ladies spots available.
Okay.
I wanted to make sure to leave plenty of room for the women, so we have 17 of the 30 spots still open. We have, I believe it was 8 master spots, or 18, I'm sorry. I left room for 40 masters. Have room for 6 more grandmasters and 1 more senior grandmaster, as well as room for 32 more open men.
Okay. So people, but you just mentioned all the spots that are available, but let's talk about a few of the spots that are already filled and the talent pool that you have.
Sure. We're lucky. Paige, being a Dallas girl, is obviously coming back. On the open men's side, just to kind of run down the list, Matt Bell, Philo's coming in from out in California. And that's his first time in I don't know how long actually coming into Texas. Texas boys, we've got Nolan Grider, Bradley Williams, my assistant TD from last year, Casey Wright, who has actually just broken the 1,000 rating mark.
Okay.
Colling's coming back. 2 of the new additions this year are Simon and Eagle. I'm stupid to leave out Paul Macbeth and Nate Sexton, who are both coming back.
No, yeah. Well,
Matty Oram and Devin Owens are both new additions this year.
awesome.
Stokely actually is coming in. So he's one of a number of our team members. Jared Roan's coming in. Masters is stacked too. I mean, I leave Ricky off, or left him off. I hear he's been kind of debating on whether or not to go to Bowling Green AMs or not. So I'm waiting to hear if he's actually going to make it into the Nick Hyde.
Okay. But right now he's currently signed up?
Yeah, currently he is signed up. But when last time I talked to him, he didn't realize Bowling Green AMs was the same weekend, and so I heard he was thinking about going to that. So we're going to kind of wait to see what happens there.
Yeah, and just to clarify, I think, I mean, there's always going to be scheduling conflicts, and there's always big events going up against other big events. In this case, although you have this premier A-tier event with more than $10,000 added, and on this really phenomenal course, 1 round a day, there's a lot of amazing things going on. The trade-off for some of these competitors is to have a presence at the Bowling Green amateur event. You're talking about, I'm guessing they have 1,000 or so players, all amateurs, and it's such an opportunity for businesses and for these players and competitors to kind of get a little bit of that face time with some of their biggest fans and some of their biggest purchasers. And so when you say someone like I know like a Drew Gibson, I believe, I think is gonna be present at the Bowling Green AM event. And I would say just about any of the bigger names that aren't at your event are likely going to be in Bowling Green having representation there. So it's one of those tough decisions that some of our players are seeing more and more value in, saying, okay, yeah, I may not be able to play or compete in this really good big event. However, there's some PR work that needs to be done or that they want to do. And Bowling Green AMs is one of those opportunities. So it's just too bad it goes up against what you're doing.
It's definitely the case. And when I realized that was on the schedule the same weekend, I was definitely disappointed to see that.
Yeah.
And there are quite a few people that I am losing to Bowling Green.
Mm-hmm.
Cam and Leslie Todd came in for the amateur weekend to set up a booth and hang out and donated some stuff to the raffle. And they're unfortunately going to be at Bowling Green because that's one of the better weekends of the year for them.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I know with Prodigy being a heavy sponsor of that event, that's where Shoestrick and Dutch and a number of the Prodigy guys from the East Coast side are going to be.
Yep. So, yeah, and that makes perfect sense for them. There's no begrudging of that. It's just, we said, it's kind of where we're moving in the world of PR and of this company representation. And when Bowling Green, I haven't looked. I don't know if anyone's looked lately as to the exact number of AMs at Bowling Green, but I know they can always have and will always push it, 1,000 or more. So.
And I was thinking it was at like 900 or 1,000.
Okay, and I'm just taking a shot in the dark that it's currently right now it shows on the website 870. I don't know if that's completely full or not, but it shows 870. So even to round to 1,000 sounds about right.
Yeah, we're getting to the point where these, in the next 5 or 6 years, these events are going to have to be real draws to players in order to get them away from some of these other events, as opposed to where a pro player would, so to speak, scrape by going every event they could. Now they can be a little bit more picky and choosy because the pools, the pots of money is getting a little bit bigger. The sponsors are stepping up a little bit more. And in order to get a player to your event that's not an NT or on a major tour, you're really going to have to put in some effort.
Yeah,
And what we could see as a change to that is the NT or maybe the major schedule expanding. As you've got more big events that continue to step up and so many more A tiers popping up on the schedule, it would make sense to me that the bigger tournaments, the NTs, the majors, would expand some to start allowing some of these bigger, more premier events in to make a better tour for our touring professionals.
Yeah, and we're seeing different ways of going about just that. With the advent of the Pro Tour and obviously the World Tour, and just different considerations that are being taken to help expand and to grow things so that it's a little bit more practical for some of these guys to be on the tour. So it's and everything we just said about the Bowling Green Am event, we're finding in the Am Worlds, the regular Am Worlds tournament. I've had the pleasure of being at that a number of times in the last few years as well, and we're seeing a bigger pro presence. Trying to spit that all out. A bigger pro presence at things like the Am Worlds. It's really good because some of these players, I take it for granted. I get to see and interact with so many of our top players, week in and week out. And some of these guys literally only get to see a Nate Sexton or a Schustrick or a Macbeth or a Wysocki. They get a glimpse of them once a year somewhere, and this might be their best chance to do it. So it's an opportunity that they're making the most of, and I think that's awesome.
Yeah, no, and I don't disagree. And we did see that last year with Am World, seeing so many of those guys up there. And I think that's one of the things that helps the Nick Hyde. I'm expecting quite a spectator presence for the pro weekend, is that a lot of these guys that are on tour don't get through Texas very often.
Mm-hmm.
That's because it takes like a week to get through Texas.
No, you're telling me. So no, I expect quite a few. I know there's a lot of excitement around the area. Everybody's getting ready with the rain that came in right after Nick Hyde ended this past weekend. A lot of people are trying to stay off of Harry Myers and let it dry out so it looks really good here in 2 weeks.
Well, that's exciting. Now, for those that don't know, you not only are you the owner of Heiserbaum, but you've also, in the last year or so, moved away from that area. And so this is kind of a homecoming back to this area for you to put on such a monstrous event. How far is your drive, and why are you working so hard so far from home?
It's about a 6.5 hour drive home. I moved up here in the partnership that Heiserbaum and Millennium have. It made some sense for me to come up here. It's a lot cheaper than Texas, which means that it's business-wise, it's cheaper to run the business being in Kansas than Texas.
Okay.
Also, though, as I wanted to expand Heiserbaum, I wanted to start to run some tournaments in some new areas. And being in Kansas allows me to hit some markets that needed to be supplemented with events outside of just Texas, which is so saturated with tournaments.
Okay. Well, it sounds like it was a good business move. You foresee yourself there for the distant future, or at least short term, or intermediate future, maybe?
Yeah, I'll still be here for a while. Getting back to Texas, I definitely realized I missed the DFW area. Being in a small town's nice, but when you get back around a lot of the friends and the family and that type of stuff, there's always a little bit of reminiscing and being like, I miss it.
Okay.
But I really enjoy Kansas. The disc golf culture is great up here. So many companies based in this area. Wichita, Emporia, Kansas City all have a lot going on. And I was able to step in and start getting networked with some good people and starting to run some events in some areas that needed it up here. I'm really looking forward to my June event in Manhattan. It's the first ever 2-day event there. And we're using 2 fun courses. And then I'm in the process of getting everything finalized with the city of Topeka to run my second event there, the Mighty Shunga, one of LS Disc's old events.
Wow, okay. So you're keeping yourself plenty busy.
Yeah, I'm keeping myself plenty busy. Nick Hyde Pro Weekend will be my 3rd event of the year. I've helped with 1 or 2 other smaller ones in the midst of all that too. And then hit the ground running again in May.
Wow, okay. Now, we've got Kevin McCoy, our PDGA board representative, who I guess is here in an unofficial capacity every week when he tunes in. But Kevin McCoy, like yourself and like me, are Cubs fans.
Yes.
We have ties to Chicago, all for different reasons. And I think now is the best time to do it. It is here April 12th. As of earlier today, anyway, the Cubs were 6-1 was their record. And I want people to mark this podcast because we're saying it already now here at the beginning of the season. Because what I don't want is September and October. People are like, oh yeah, sure, you're Cubs fans. I've been a Cubs fan since I was like 4 years old.
I can vouch for it. As long as I've known him, I've given him crap for being a Cubs fan.
So
we were outside the stadium.
We were.
It wasn't
the night after the Bartman incident.
The night after the Bartman incident, yep.
So
I almost lost my job that night. We had the game on at the bar at the hotel I worked at the time. And I had to run out the back door because I was screaming and yelling.
Yeah.
Well, I just want to put it out there on record that three of us, us three right here, right now, all big fans. We've all been diehard fans for a long time. I'm not as in on every single thing as I know these guys are, but I have been a Cubs fan all my life. So if and when they have this amazingly successful season,
are they gonna win the World Series? I almost said Super Bowl. Are they gonna win the World Series? Or I'm saying no. Personally, I think they're gonna have they're gonna take the Central Division probably easily. A couple games over the Cardinals. And then a couple games over the Reds and a lot more over the Brewers. But I think they're gonna get cubbed in the playoffs.
Call it what you want. That's fine. That's fine. But
it's fine. I mean, they're gonna have a good season, no doubt. You know,
it's exciting to see. Rarely can we be a week or two into the season.
Yeah, and no, this is when the Cubs fans
so
are excited.
Well,
it's usually about 3 weeks into the season that things are like, oh my lord. And they had an issue with their outfielder getting a nasty ACL tear or something. He's out for the season, and yeah.
Well, anyway, mark it on your podcast, on your calendar.
Go ahead and mark it.
Mark it right now, so everybody knows. So later, they'll know. Anyway.
Go Cubbies.
Yeah, exactly. Matt, you got anything else for us? I know, you did a lot this last weekend. You kind of have a little breather here, but not really, for the next week.
Yeah, not much.
I can assume you want everyone to go sign up. Where do they need to check things out? Is it nickhyde.com, nickhyde.memorial.com?
Registration is up on Disc Golf Scene. And you can actually go to Heiserbaum, and there's a Nick Hyde Memorial link at heiserbaum.com that'll take you directly to the flyers and any info.
Okay.
We got the schedule posted up last week, yesterday, not last week. So that's all on Disc Golf Scene also now.
What are some of the extracurriculars that we'll be running into just before the event? Clinics, demos, doubles, that kind of stuff. What's going on just before the event?
Sure. So the Wednesday before the event, we're going to have a McBeast Challenge actually over at Audubon Park.
Okay.
Thursday, we'll be doing early check-ins at Harry Myers along with Bring Your Own Partner doubles. That'll be running all day. And being that this is an event that's as much for the locals as it is for anybody else, I'll offer AM divisions and pro divisions for Bring Your Own Partner doubles.
Okay.
Saturday night, we'll have a players' party at the Londoner, the same location from last year, and there will be a putting competition with $100 added cash.
Okay.
And then Sunday will be final round, awards ceremony, all that fun stuff. One thing I'm doing differently is I'm not going to do a players' meeting.
Okay.
Being that we're on tee times and doing early check-ins, we can cover everything we need to before tee times. And I'm not going to force players to be in Thursday night if they're not teeing till noon or 3 on Friday and driving in from somewhere around the state.
Okay. And then if people want to spectate, obviously it's free. They're welcome to come out to the park, check things out, and spectate. Could you use any additional helpers, spotters, volunteers, anything of that nature?
Definitely. Of course, as with any event, we're always looking for volunteers. One of the two main keys I'm looking for with volunteers is one, spotting, and the second is live scoring. I'm wanting to put somebody every 3 holes, and I've got a number of people that have said that they can be there for a day or maybe 2. And learning from events like Maple Hill and USDGC last year, not that I haven't taken care of volunteers in the past, but I'll be taking extra special care of them this year.
Good.
We'll have a food truck out all 3 days, and so I'll be providing lunch to every volunteer.
Very cool.
So that they'll be plenty well set on course. But if you're interested in spotting or being there to live score, and just have a smartphone that can pull up the PDGA website, we're glad to have you, and you're welcome to reach out to us through the Heiserbaum Facebook page or hit me up personally on Facebook.
Is Sunday, is that tee times? I don't think I've caught it. Sunday.
Yeah, all 3 days is tee times.
So the great thing about being a live scorer on Sunday is that as that last group comes through, You're done. You get up and follow them and watch them. You
Yep,
you finish your
become the
live scoring,
gallery.
and then you become the gallery. So
Exactly, and all 3 days are that way. Once, if you're live scoring on hole 3, once that last group comes through hole 3, your duties are done. You get to watch, enjoy the show, which is something that I got to do at USDGC this year, working holes 10, 11, and 12.
Sweet. All right, Matt. Any parting shots?
Thanks for having me. I'm looking forward to seeing you and Joe in 2 weeks or week and a half here, Terry. And come out and join us here on the 22nd, 23rd, and 24th in Rockwall for the Nick Hyde Memorial.
All right, buddy. Well, we appreciate it. I look forward to seeing you. Like you said, about 9 days, and looking forward to getting back down to Texas and covering the sweet action. Have a good night, buddy.
Hey, you too. Good talking to you guys.
All right, take care.
thanks.
Bye.
All right, and of course, again, Matt Siri of Heiserbaum. I know he's released some bags and been making some changes and upgrades and coming out with some stuff. He's also working on discs all the time, and as he mentioned, moved from Texas up to Kansas, and he's a busy guy. And then on top of it, he's running a number of different events, and he's got a lot of hands in cookie jars. That's what I do. I don't know, something like that. Irons in the fire. Maybe we'll go that way. So thank you to Matt, and looking forward. It's kind of crazy. Yeah, that is 9 days away. Yeah. Looks like about 9 days away. I'll be meeting up with our Smashbox TV super filmer in Joe Hyde. Him and I are going to be working on edited footage throughout that entire weekend. And as he said, Joe Mez crew will be out there doing the same. So you'll get plenty of disc golf action that weekend coming at you. All thanks to Matt Siri Heiserbaum and his presenting sponsor in Innova Discs. So, all right, what else do we have on the agenda here, Johnny? Have we had any conversations with Mr. Ulibarri?
He's scared. Scared.
I knew that much.
Let's take a quick timeout here. I'm going to give the system a quick kick.
Okay.
Take about 2 seconds, and people might not even notice we're gone. So hold on. We'll be right. All right. We should be back in a second here. All right. Let's see here. Go live. If it doesn't come back there. All right. Stream resumed. All right. That's good.
All right. Well,
so we're back. And now we should be able to get video out to our wonderful guests. But
was there an issue? Is that what you're telling me?
something with Wirecast wasn't sending video to Skype. So hopefully now that we have that situated, we can our guests can see us.
Okay.
Yeah, they should be able to see us now. So just a quick boot every once in a while. It's software. I've got a great plan for GBO. With YouTube, we can do what's known as a backup stream, and I'm going to set a backup stream to run live, like maybe either a looping scoreboard or something like that, or maybe just your video live, so that if we ever crash or anything ever goes wrong, it just automatically kicks it back to you. So then I can just tell you, hey, guess what? You're going to be on for a couple seconds, and then I can just restart. This way, there would be no downtime for GBO. So it's going to be something new I'm trying, because I'm hosting the backup stream off-site. So in case for whatever reason GBO goes down, like the warehouse or something, we go to a live raw feed of you, which wouldn't be the worst thing. So I know. It just means you'd have to roll without commercials. But I don't foresee there being any bandwidth issues at the warehouse. We were there last year, and it was really solid and a lot of fun.
And so, of course, yes, our next live broadcast will, in fact, be at GBO. That's just in 16 or so days, 14 or so days before we arrive there. Again, doing the Nick Hyde and then going right to GBO. And then the following weekend, we're going to have a presence in a recorded capacity, more than likely, over at the Kansas City Wide Open. So a busy 3 weeks in a row, 3 weekends in a row, and then maybe even some stuff after that. So looking forward to it. Are we going to be calling up Yuli, or did you say he's too scared to join?
He's too scared to join.
Okay, so
even though he outscored me by a point this week.
Wow,
but
that's cute.
he
That's
said
cute.
he said he wants to join. I told him we'd text him, which I did, and I sent him a message. So we'll just wait to hear back from him. Hopefully, it'll be in the next couple minutes. Until then, we can talk about some news or things that happened this week, some announcements.
Well, I will go ahead real quickly and make a couple of plugs for the Disc Golf Guy video blogs. No, I just wanted to let everyone know that the Lake County Trailblazer promo is out. It's a huge event taking place down in Florida. They have an
Like
insane,
Trailblazer, like Clyde the Glide?
you got it, from Portland. It's going to be a huge event with a ridiculous player pack, just as Matt Siri was talking about, but it will be a ridiculously large player pack. That's taking place over the Women's Global Event weekend, May 14th and 15th. The cool thing about that event is this is kind of a test or a trial run for Lake County down there. And if they see a good positive result, including tourism and heads in beds, as they call it, and economic impact, if they see good results from all of that, they're talking about investing in like 6 to 8 additional courses. So it does mean a lot when you go to an event and you're shopping locally while you're there and you're supporting the local businesses and the local sponsors, because all of that can translate back to the tourism department in a number of ways. In fact, I know tourism departments have even called local shops and stores and said, "Hey, this happened. Did you feel it, or did you like it, or whatever? Did you feel any any kind of impact from it?" So that's really great to see. So that's going on. There's a video out there talking about a temp course that's going to get used, as well as one of their established courses. And then a video I just published a few days ago as well on Sunday night was the Disc Golf Box Company. They've been working with me and a number of other vlog and reviewers. So I went out there and opened my disc in a box and opened up and revealed what was in the April box from the Disc Golf Box Company. So there's a couple videos. If you haven't seen them already, they're out there on my YouTube channel. I'm no Eagle McMahon and his vlog and Simon Lizott's vlog and all of those guys, but I get in where I fit in. That's all I can do.
Yeah. I don't like that term.
You're the only one. So
No, I don't think so. Ugh.
Steve Dodge, more specifically, I should say,
The Disc Golf Pro Tour.
the Disc Golf Pro Tour had a few things they announced and we're talking about. I had a great conversation with Steve today. I know he's amped up. He's ready. He's getting things ready to go. Obviously, the Pro Tour will be kicking off in, I don't know, sometime in June over at the Maple Hill. The last conversation that he talked about was how many rounds should be played, 3 or 4. There's always a great discussion. We talked about that last week. And one of the things he announced this week is that everyone that cashes gets a special little pin for cashing when they cash out a Pro Tour.
That's right. It looks like they're getting a small token, almost like for those of you that have been a PDGA member for a long time, you will notice it's almost like a little tiny bag tag, metal bag tag, a 10-year member, a 15-year, 20-year member. These look very similar to that for the Disc Golf Pro Tour. So
yeah, a little lapel pin of sorts, and we'll see if everyone who can collect, who will earn multiple pins, is how they worded it. So we look forward to seeing that. Also in the news from the PDGA, they put out a RFP. Johnny, what are they asking about?
it's an RFP for the 2016 Pro Worlds live streaming. So kind of our wheelhouse.
Maybe.
I hope, maybe, I don't know, us, Disc Golf Media Planet, and Viradisc.
Yep. Unless there's other live streaming, those
know.
are the
You with your Periscope.
yes
So
down Periscope.
So they put an RFP with basically is just a bunch of requirements that you need to meet in order to qualify to even request to stream the Pro Worlds. Things like 2-camera, 720p viewing minimum. The PDGA is going to be the title sponsor of the live stream. The ability to include PDGA advertising. A PDGA bug has to be up there, which is the little logo that we tend to have. Whole previews and course maps displayed during play. Instant replay capability, which we have. Awesome. And then any additional live broadcast outside of tournament play, blah, 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 like interviews and maybe whole preview shots or maybe a wrap-up show. So I don't necessarily know how much of a requirement those are, but
Those are all listed.
But those are all listed as things,
items that they're looking for.
Items that they're looking for. So, yeah, so that's out there for the bid deadline. Looks like it's, Sunday, April 24th. So coming up quick. And this was released, I believe it was yesterday or the day before.
A couple days ago. Now, ever since 2000... Wow, what year was the first live with Disc Golf Planet? It was 2010 in Indiana, the first year. I think that was the first time that
For
live
Worlds.
had been done at Worlds. And
Yep.
we know 10 and 11 and so on and so forth all the way through They've done it every year through 2015. I think 2010 in Indiana was, in fact, the first year of live Worlds broadcasting. So pretty crazy, pretty exciting. I know some people talked about talked about other events. I know way back in the day, I believe it was out at the Flagstaff Worlds, there was an attempt at some kind of live coverage and such that really didn't turn out to be what it is today. And obviously the technology's only gotten better throughout the years. But the technology that I love is going to the internet and making picks that are usually more right than wrong. Let's welcome to the show, Paul Ulibarri.
Oh, I almost missed something. We're gonna points. So,
hey, there we go, buddy. How we doing tonight?
You guys are ruthless.
We are. I am.
We were so disappointed last week. You were not able to make the show, and it was the week right after you won a tournament. The weekend that you won last weekend.
It was, yeah.
And we wanted to come on and congratulate you. Nothing. You were MIA.
Too big time for us.
Or something about a vehicle.
Yeah, I wish I could have made it last week, but I had a kind of a crazy week and a half. But I'm glad to be back.
All right, so we got to always ask, you're kind of like Zoe, being a roving reporter here. Where are you calling from now?
I'm in Tennessee right now.
All right, you're in Tennessee. I think I just saw a post from you. You're going to be running some doubles or a clinic or something here before you head out of town in a few days. Is that what you're up to?
Yeah, I did that today. We played like a friendly round with some of the locals and stuff before we left. Gave away some CTP prizes, and we all played for like $10 and stuff, and it was pretty cool.
And it doesn't sound like you're going very far. I saw that you are not signed up. We just had Matt Siri on. You're not signed up for the Nick Hyde. Instead, you're going to the Rumble.
Right.
Okay. Excellent.
Yeah. What made for that decision to head to that side of the country? I know you've got friends and relations and whatnot with Deuce Squad, Brady Hanna up in that side of the country. Is that the plan?
Yeah. I've missed it the last couple years. And I was actually there, I think 3 years ago, and I really enjoyed the tournament, the courses. And then of course, Matt Siri runs a great tournament in Texas, but I don't really play well in Texas.
Okay.
And so this year I kind of boycotted Texas altogether. I'm not going to play any events there this year. Not taking away from Matt Siri and his tournament or anything, because he does run a really good tournament. Texas State's is always great. But it just so happened that the tour kind of pulled me away this year, and I'm looking forward to it.
All right, awesome. Well, let's talk a little bit about last week's picks. I believe we only had about 13 or so women to choose from in the pro division, and we were all incredibly consistent with our 1-2 picks.
Yep, all of us went Page and Hokum 1-2.
Okay.
Which they went 1-2.
All right. So nothing too crazy there. Let's talk about Yuli's third and fourth picks.
Do you remember who you picked, Yuli?
I picked Stephanie Vincent to get third, and I picked Madison to get fourth.
Yep, that didn't happen. I picked Danielle Vargas by mistake, thinking it was Maria. Yeah, whatever. And then Stephanie Vincent. No big deal. A little slight mistake on my part.
Yes.
At least my player was there. I'm just saying.
That's true.
Touche. And then Terry picked Madison third and Stephanie Vincent fourth. And the way it ended up shaking out was Madison did take third place. Congratulations, Madison. So Terry got 3 points. Yuli got 1 point for picking her fourth. I got 0. And I forget who actually took fourth.
I believe it was Lisa.
It was Lisa. Oh yeah, Lisa took fourth. So and none of us surprisingly picked her. So sorry, Lisa.
So there you have it. So the point totals for the week. Let's recap.
So point totals
for the week.
For that week, Yuli pulled in 7 points. I pulled in 6 points, and Terry got 9 points.
Or as Steph would say, 3 threes. Booyah.
Really
that was one of my better weeks too. This is bull.
I know. How's that feel when you have one of your better weeks and you still lose points? You still lose ground.
You know, we have about 20 tournaments left, so I'm feeling okay about this.
Me too.
All right, sure.
He can't keep it up. He can't keep it up.
No.
Just like the Warriors, they started to fail down in the stretch.
Yeah,
they lost 2 in a row,
Yep.
just like you're gonna do.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So this week we went kind of last minute, but we decided we were gonna go with the Texas State championships. And let's see here. I'm pulling up the event things right now. I've got mine and Terry. Let's go with I'll go with my picks first. So I'm going to start with fourth place. Okay. Fourth place, after taking a look at the results from this weekend, I went with Eagle McMahon to take fourth. Fourth place for Eagle. Followed up by very closely his touring partner, his buddy in crime, the Flying Circus. Third place, Simon Lizotte. Second place, Mr. DD, Miles Seaborn, who's been on a pretty good hot streak lately, playing very well.
I agree.
And I'm going, when you're in Texas, you almost, you got to pick him up there at the top because he usually finishes there. Mr. I once saw him wear a dress on the course, Bradley Williams.
2011 Pro Worlds. True story.
Wore a dress.
Wow.
Yes.
Yes, at Ryan
Those
Ranch.
are really surprising picks. I think I'll go second this time.
Okay, you go second. I got to write this down so I remember what's going on here.
I cannot believe you picked those people in that order.
Yeah. Did you match my picks?
Because mine are the exact same picks.
Yeah. So that means I will earn even more points when I go ahead this week.
All right, I'm gonna write this down.
That is so cute.
Oh yeah, and just so everybody knows, we actually, just like everybody else, can go to smashbox.tv/picks. We all put in our picks, unbeknownst to anybody else, and how they roll out, and then for the show, we announce them.
That's the grand reveal.
So that's the grand reveal, and everybody makes their picks separately. Nobody knows what's going on until after. So it's not like we're ganging up on Terry to either gain ground or lose ground.
No,
gain ground.
Well,
gain ground. That's right.
Sure.
All right, Terry.
All right, boys.
Then who did you pick?
You guys should just ask me every week, and maybe I'd give you some insight. But here we go.
Okay,
here we go. Of course, we see some similar names. In fact, all 4 of the names that I have are the same, just in different order.
Okay.
In 4th place, Miles Seaborn. 4th place.
Okay.
3rd place, I switched these back and forth and back and forth and back and forth, and ultimately I went with Eagle finishing in 3rd place.
Oh. Now, are there Priuses in Texas?
Is there Prius?
Pre-I. They are It is Pre-I.
I don't know. I don't know that Miss Stenitis is going to be around with hers to run him over or to slam his finger. So I think Eagle's going to be all right. But I've got him I've got him in 3rd, and I flip-flop quite a few times. But ultimately, I went with Mr. Flying Circus himself. Yeah, Simon Lizotte in 2nd, and Bradley Williams.
Wow.
In 1st.
So we all have Bradley. That's a wash.
Yeah, that's pretty funny.
That's actually surprising that we all picked Bradley over Lizotte or Eagle or Miles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bradley is coming off of a win from last weekend at A-tier at the Woodville Open. He took 1st, and I think 2nd was Seaborn.
Yep. Yeah, that's what had me pick Seaborn up near the top. I mean, I was thinking about, putting him. I was thinking about not even picking him possibly, and then I looked at some of the results. I'm like, he has been playing really well in Texas, and he's kind of one of those weekend warrior guys because he's got a family and he just shows up and plays well.
Yeah, and he always plays well in Texas too. It seems like every year at the Texas States, no matter if it's a national tour, A-tier, he's always at the top. So
yeah,
I'd be curious to know what those the Disc Golf Answer Boys picked with their little segment or whatever they do now. I'm not sure what that is on their little podcast.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Either do I. I don't know.
Did somebody on the board know what you're referring to?
No, I've never heard of those other guys.
So like those guys are doing it, and then isn't there other people doing picks now also?
Well, there's I plug it again. I created a website called, I've had the domain forever, skipace.com, where people can go out and create their own leagues. They can do all this other stuff. We'll probably end up moving this next year to that, but for now we're going to keep it on the Smashbox website. Yeah, and then I know Disc Golf Answer Man, they're doing their Inside the Circle, where they talk every Monday. I think they talk about whatever their picks are. So, I don't know. It's
dynamic.
Yeah, those guys.
Those guys. So what do they know? They don't know anything.
I don't know on that one podcast. So I'll be interested to see what they have. Obviously, I think they're gonna have a poll for their boy Miles, as they
Probably.
should. A great competitor. I don't know. It should be interesting, but it's funny. Yeah, ultimately, all three of us picking Bradley Williams to take first this weekend. So no matter how you cut it, those point earnings, whatever they are on that, is going to be a wash. So exciting stuff.
Are you playing anywhere this weekend?
Oh, of course, yeah.
Of course. Grinding it out. Where are you playing this weekend?
I'm going to be playing in let me think here, Kansas City. I'm going to be playing the City of Fountains B tier.
Okay.
That's on Sunday, and then on Saturday prior, I'll be playing in Nebraska. There's a C tier in Nebraska that I'm going to be playing in. So
all right,
I'll get 2 tournaments in this weekend, which I actually did this last weekend and the weekend before that. So.
Oh, you had 2 tournaments last weekend?
Yeah.
I only saw one of them. I saw you won. Did you win them both or just that one?
I won this last weekend. I won the second one. I lost the first one in Iowa to Benjamin Callaway.
Okay. Solid player.
Oh,
yeah.
and hence he gave you the inspiration for the hair. Okay. Now it's all coming together. Ben Callaway. I see it. I see it now.
Now turn to the side.
I grew it in
yeah.
I grew it in literally 38 hours, Terry.
Okay. That's a style I've seen Callaway sporting, so maybe as part of the 1-2 punch that he gave.
We did go 1-2.
That's what I'm saying.
Yuli, how old are you?
32. 37.
Going
41.
Going up. Masters.
No, you what are you, 27?
Yep.
Okay.
So that puts him 11 years younger than us.
10. Me?
10 to 11, whatever. Do you remember
about 10 to 11 years mature?
Yeah. Do you remember when we saw that haircut, Terry?
Yeah.
We were in junior high.
Yeah.
It was like 1990.
Yeah, when I had it.
Yeah.
Are you guys saying you don't like it?
No,
we're
it's
not
fine.
saying that at all.
I'm just saying what goes around comes around, and that was a very popular haircut. I was hoping you'd maybe wear like a long sleeve flannel. No, the long sleeve insulated with the flannel over it.
Listening to Pearl Jam.
While listening to Pearl Jam.
Next week.
All right. Tune in next week.
I can grow my hair this fast in 36 hours, according to Terry. So,
but
next week I'll do something else for you guys.
Yeah, the hair will grow, but the razor is broke. That's all I'm saying.
Yuli, someone recently asked. They said they weren't sure of the jabbing, the ribbing that we all give each other. Maybe it's a little more one way than others, but all in good fun. We appreciate you taking a beating every week and
keep coming back
and continuing.
See, here's the thing though. It's a full year we're doing this, and you can talk all the trash you want now, but at the end of the year, it's gonna be really close. I have a feeling.
I think so too.
I mean, no week has proved that, but
especially after this next weekend, you didn't even. Me and how close are we, Johnny?
We're within a point of each other, I believe.
Yeah.
Wow, what's it like way back up?
We're gonna get 12 points this next week.
That's right. Terry will pull in
at least
3, 4, 6.
Yeah,
6.
I would get at least 6
at the most, and then we're within whatever, like
then we're within 6 points,
22 or whatever.
So are you afraid that like when we go to GBO, people are gonna some of the pros are gonna come up to us and be like, listen, you need to pick me more often.
I don't know.
Some people get angry that we don't pick them. Did you know that? Like I get texts and messages from the pros, and they're like, "Why didn't you pick me? What the heck is going on?"
Maybe you should be listening up because apparently who you've been picking hasn't been working so hot.
Oh, wow.
So maybe you should listen to some of them.
I told Paul that the only reason he's winning is because I'm not picking him. So if I pick him, it's not good.
That's good.
Wow. So yeah, you're really helping him out, is what you're doing.
Yeah,
I obviously I haven't picked him one time and he's won every time. Is that a coincidence? I don't.
Let's talk about the collegiates. Do you have any input as to what's happening over there as hundreds and hundreds of players and schools all convene over there in South Carolina and Augusta, Georgia, or wherever they are? Yeah, Augusta, Georgia, I guess, Georgia, technically. Yes. Yep.
Wisconsin has 4 teams going to the collegiates. We've got Parkside, Platteville, Point, and Stout.
Okay, Parkside.
Do you have a list on there, John?
I do, actually. It's relatively long. So
okay. I don't have a lot of input. The only input I really have is, it's great for the sport. I think it's probably our most important event of the year as far as growing the sport. That's all the future of our game right there, and It's awesome that a lot of them, look forward to that tournament. And I have some of the players I haven't even heard of because they keep their AM status and they really look forward to playing that. I think James Proctor, Jared Roan, Cole Glazer are some of the people who've played in that event. And those are all I think Jared Roan actually won, right?
I think he won the single side, yeah.
Yep, and Proctor also won.
Yeah, I think that sounds right, actually.
Yeah, for the individual, I'm looking at the individual list, which is basically an advanced list, but it says advanced, yet you've got Dustin Perry at 1,002, local Justin Lammers at 991, Austin Hannum at 987. That's not advanced ratings, even though it's in the advanced division. So I'm hoping.
Yeah, a lot of good players come out of that of that collegiate system that they have going on. So good luck to all the competitors. And what's the closest school we have to Arizona right there?
All right, let's look at the individual. Let's see if we got any. Not individual. Sorry, team. Let's see here.
And while Johnny's
California,
there is Arizona. You got Arizona State playing. So
that's right. Yeah, we did get Arizona.
Should we put a? And I have no clue. Should we put a side wager on? Should we each pick just one team and see who finishes the best?
Sure.
Like
Arizona State.
Yeah, you're gonna take Arizona State. Should we each take a Wisconsin team?
Or not.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I know because you're gonna probably pick Oregon or Oregon State. I'll take. What team is Little Lammers playing for?
Stout.
So I'll take Stout. When in doubt, take Stout. That's the line when you go to college around here. When in doubt, go to Stout. I'll take.
Who else do you have coming on tonight?
Probably have Zoe right after you at some point. She said she's
who was on before me.
We had Matt Siri on the tournament director.
Okay.
So.
Yeah. Wow. That's interesting. As to
now, do you know who won last year? Do you remember?
I don't recall.
I know Oregon always does very
Nevada,
well.
Right?
Was it
Did Nevada win last year?
Was it? Okay, that I didn't recall.
Okay.
I thought it was Nevada was in the finals. I know because Proctor won.
Okay.
Yep.
Wow, there are now. Yeah, now I'm really challenged here by who I want to go with.
This is not for any extra points. This is just for bragging rights. So.
Yeah. I don't know.
Why don't you call somebody?
He probably will.
Yeah, heaven forbid.
Let me get Blabbity on the phone.
All right, I'm going to go with, I don't know. Let's go with Cal State Monterey Bay.
Okay.
All right.
CSUMB. We'll go with that team. I know they were a good team at least a couple years ago, and they could be great or not. I don't know off the top of my head now, but I'm going to go on that. And I will say we did reach out to Alan Kane, the tournament director. They were having the Champions Dinner, I believe they called it, that was taking place tonight. Otherwise, we were talking about getting him on the show to give us a few details about the weekend. However, just with the timing and whatnot, it didn't work out. So I know some people were asking about it.
Maybe we can have him on next weekend or something to talk a little bit if we're lucky.
Exactly. So Ferris State won last year is what someone had said on here.
All right. I know, and we got Emporia State, home of the DD guys. Mm-hmm. I know they're doing some coaching, obviously.
Are you doing some picks tonight?
I'm just, like I said, Oregon, as I got yelled at for how I pronounce it. They've always had a really solid. The Ducks always have a solid showing. They had Felberg be their coach a couple years ago, and so they've got, there's a lot of good teams out there. I'm really curious to see. I'm disappointed that we're not able to catch this live and see. So hopefully we'll have some recorded coverage of it at some point
and some updates there. I also just got an update, as you were just asking about people possibly being on the show. I got a message just a few moments ago. Simon Lazat says that Eagle and him, both Simon and Eagle, could come onto the show and join us if we would like. So maybe we'll have them stepping in here.
I don't know. We all just picked against them. We all just picked Bradley Williams to beat them.
Oh
yeah.
gosh.
Well, we won't talk about that.
I'm glad I'm going to be out of here.
Awkward.
You guys.
So, anything you would like to say before they do join us as to the rhyme or reason or logic for your picks on those two? Because they're going to ask now.
I mean, they know.
They know.
They know.
They know.
They know. Okay.
They know.
All right. You're going to have to look that
I mean, Bradley Williams is really hard to beat in Texas no matter what. So I don't think that they can really argue that point. Everybody has a chance. That's why we picked them all top 4. So I don't think we're taking away from any of their skills in any way. And I just hope mine are right.
Yeah. Now, did you see how much ice cream Simon was eating today?
No.
It seemed like an unhealthy amount.
Whatever.
I'm just saying. He had a
I
lot
like
of
ice cream, so I can't.
I'm not saying I don't like it.
We all love some ice cream.
It seemed like the ice cream serving that he had was extra large for a Wisconsin size even. That was some serious ice cream. We're going to have to ask him about that. I saw an Eagle video posting, so I'll definitely have to inquire.
Did you guys watch the Masters?
I caught honestly, I heard all about it. I caught the last 15 minutes on Sunday. Terry was running an event on Saturday and Sunday, so I didn't get a chance to watch Saturday. All I saw was you say, "Oh my God," on Facebook. I love the Masters. I tune in, and then just to hear, like half hour prior, Spieth just splash, not able to get it over the drink.
So, Yuli, because this is something we want to talk about in terms of media, and we'll talk about the media side a little bit later, but with you taking it all in and neither of us being able to do so, give us a quick rundown as to what you saw happen and what you thought of it. Because, like myself, I don't even know all the details. Yeah, at the Masters, the last few holes.
Yeah, no, Jordan looked like he had complete control of the tournament after the turn. He got the last 4 on the front 9. So he got 4 birdies in a row, which is extremely hard to do at the Masters, obviously, to get any birdies out there. And then it just looked like he kind of got out of position on 10. And then out of position on 11, made bogey, and then hit a bad drive on 12.
Mm-hmm.
Got out of position again, and it just kind of looked like he didn't take his time, hit a really, really poor shot into the water, and then before you know it, he made triple. And in his defense, though, I mean, he still charged after that and made a few birdies down the stretch, and I can't remember who won the tournament. I had never heard of the guy before.
William something or other.
William. He's an Englishman, and
like Tilly something. So.
Yeah, but I mean, he played great. He after Spieth triple bogeyed, he had like a 3-shot lead, and he didn't give any up coming down the stretch, which is very difficult. So yeah.
Yeah, that first
really
shot
exciting.
For Spieth on, I think it was 12. It looked like it was going to be good. It hit the grass a couple feet in and then bounced straight back into the water. And at that point, you could see he was just like he would just in his head he was just like ugh. And
Dustin Johnson kind of had a chance there too after that happened, and he completely fell apart down the stretch. And Lee Westwood, I wanted to see actually Lee Westwood come in because he right after he did that he dropped like a 40-foot eagle putt and was only like 1 back, and then ended up going like bogey or something. But yeah.
Danny Willett was the winner.
Yes.
So
see, I've never heard of that.
No, I don't think anybody had until this past weekend.
And unfortunately, the focus has shifted because, as neither of you and nor could I name the winner's name, yet all the conversation is around Jordan's collapse, and even prior to that, I feel like the secondary story of the whole tournament was Ernie Els' Open.
Yeah, the 7,
the 9
putt or whatever,
the 9,
7 putt or something.
What he did there. So that's just crazy to think about. The storyline that is here and what happened. And again, I didn't know any of the name. I hadn't even researched any of this. But the fact that you guys couldn't name the winner, I mean, it says a lot about the event and the things that unfolded.
Someone asked a question at the Answer Man was, has anything like this ever happened in disc golf? And everyone right away screamed, every year at USDGC. Every year, hole 17 knocks somebody out.
Yep.
So,
well, yeah, Johnny McRae was probably the most recent.
Mm-hmm.
I guess Ricky was kind of close, right? Last year.
Yeah, Ricky.
They
were
17, and he took a big number on that hole. Shoestrick 1 year took a big number. I mean,
yeah.
Yeah, hole 17 definitely. And the one post that I saw while I was updating scores for the event I was running, I saw Macbeth make a post something like, "Oh, is Spieth trying to make a 2014 recovery from his 7 or something?"
A Macbeth recovery.
Yeah, or something like that of his 7, and I'm like, "Oh, that doesn't sound good. Whatever's going on."
Yeah.
But Spieth didn't go on and birdie the next 10 out of 11 to force a playoff. So.
Like you said, it's kind of crazy how the media works and how, they spotlight these great players, and then somebody like that wins the tournament, and we don't even remember his name. We don't know who this person is, and it's kind of.
Yep.
I haven't even seen them really promoting him afterwards.
Unless he wins another Masters, you'll probably or another major, you'll never hear from him again. You'll never hear about him. You'll see him next year when he has to hand the green jacket off to the next guy. And other than that, I mean, that's got to be a rough spot. Well, I mean, I try to keep it disc golf related a little bit. That's got to be a rough spot for Jordan as he's coming in. He's lost. He pretty much knew he'd lost with 2 holes to go. And the media is in his face. And you could see at one point his caddy kind of brushes the media away. But he has to go in. He has to do that interview. He has to hand the green jacket over. A really funny moment, I don't know if you watched it, Yuli, was when he was about to put the jacket on and he kind of tripped and he started to tip over and he had to catch himself on his chair because he just was on one leg and he couldn't quite get back to where he needed to be. And then he's like, "Oh, I almost fell down," hands the jacket over. But that's a really, and it kind of draws back into what happened with Ricky at Worlds a couple of years ago,
2014 in Portland,
for the playoff. You've just gone through, and Ricky hits that tree right in the middle of the fairway. He virtually knows he's lost it. Paul makes the shot, makes another shot, gets up and down, and now he's right there, and he has to give an interview minutes after this happens.
Yeah,
and people scream back and forth. Oh, it's not. Why give the guy a break? But these are the things you have to deal with in real life sports.
I mean, you go through that, and people want to know what you're feeling and how you're feeling, the disappointment in you, and as professionals, we're supposed to handle that in the best way that we possibly can.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how you gain fans and lose fans.
Yeah,
depending on how you react for those situations. I mean, those are the worst moments of our lives. I've lost plenty of big tournaments in the last round, and giving an interview afterwards is sometimes just devastating.
Yeah.
You're just like, yeah, of course I effing lost or something, but you want to cuss and do all that stuff, but you can't do that.
Well, what I want to do is just arrive at a line of questioning like they did for the NCAA for the basketball game where the guy was talking about the rebounds and the guy replied with the rebound count when he's like,
right.
Well, you see, they went up and got this more than we did.
Yeah.
When he was giving
when the ball bounces off the rim
and I grab it, you grab it,
and then I pull it down. They did that.
More than us.
Yeah.
So hopefully at some point
I shared that. That was really, really cool.
Yeah. Hopefully in my professional career, I can ask you enough of the same question over and over until one of you guys just gives me this absolute asinine but direct answer as to, well, I threw my disc and it hit those chains, but then it hit the ground, that happened too many times.
I expect that.
All right, I'm gonna ask you a question since you do a lot of interviews. Do you think it should be mandatory, or at least suggested from the sponsors for some of the top players to maybe have like a speech class or something of that nature to where they're better and behind the camera. I'm not going to name names, but there are some people out there who give interviews, or even me personally, I'm just like, ugh, that was a nightmare.
Well, we've all seen it. Everybody has a crutch they rely on. Terry tends to use the same phrases over and over. If you notice when he tries to get rid of a guest, he'll do it 3 or 4 times. Ricky has the where I think someone counted for the Disc Golf World Tour, he had said it like 52 times in like a 5-minute. It was something ridiculous. But everybody has a crutch, and I think it would be very positive to see these guys maybe in the off season go through just a basic
because
a PR slash
get coached and they get help professional.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's not like they just go in front of a camera and they're the best speakers of all time. That doesn't happen.
Yeah, I mean, would it be that tough for? I mean, we'll just use you guys. We use Prodigy as an example to bring in a coach, whether it's a PR slash speech coach, and have you guys all kind of sit around and take a 2-day class or 2-day seminar and just see what can come of it. I think every manufacturer could do that. I think it would be very good. Or maybe the PDGA could offer something for all the players, for all the major touring players, and have everyone come to the IDGC Center or whatever. I don't know.
Right.
I think it'd be a great idea, and I think also one thing that we've seen throughout the years is as our players do it more and they're in that position more, they do naturally get better.
Right,
and so there's an element of that, and I clearly. Well, hopefully it's clear. I'm trying to put them in the best possible position for them to have the best interview as they can too. I'm not looking to trip anyone up. I'm looking to make sure I don't screw up as much, I want to screw up as little as possible, but I also want these to be as easy and as comfortable in both good and bad situations. If you feel awkward, guess what? I probably do too. So I want, it to go as smoothly as possible. I think there's a few tips and tricks that everyone could benefit from, as you're saying, and that could be a professional coach that comes in. I was going to say even a step further, or maybe even a first step, do just like you do with your golf game, or what we tell every player to go out and do, record yourself. Or go back and watch an interview. Maybe it's one I've done with you or someone else has done with you, and then go back and really watch it and think to yourself. I think a lot of people, myself included, hate watching themselves or listening to themselves in a recorded piece, but do it and see.
Oh, I hate watching it.
Yeah.
I mean,
we all hate watching. I have to watch them a lot.
But do you,
we can't stand watching it,
do
Jerry.
you have fallback words? Do you have pauses, or do you have filler words? We almost all do them in some capacity. So just going back and watching some of the previous things you've done, I think, is a huge starting point, because you can nitpick from there.
And for all the pros out there, you'll look at what Simon and Eagle are doing and what Paul is actually doing right now, whether he knows it or not. The more time you have in front of the camera, the better.
Yeah.
You're going to get better. Practice. Even if you never release a vlog, record them and look at them, and you will only get better the more you do.
Yep.
Becomes more and more comfortable, for sure. And I'll say something that I know Nate Doss has talked about throughout the years. I think Nate is arguably one of the best interviewers out there. I think of Kenny, who always gives great interviews, win or lose. He gives really good interviews. But they're also, like yourself, they're huge sports fanatics. So Nate Doss has watched, hundreds of interviews after rounds of golf and after championship bouts, in any given sport. Just watching some of the best, someone who's a repeat champion, or someone who always does well in any sport, I think you can learn a lot from watching how they give. I know that I've even watched, as I said, on a commentator side or as a reporter side of things. I'm now watching people trying to think about, their style or things that they've done. That's not something I would have ever thought of 5 years ago, but now I actually care about that stuff. From that angle. So I think watching some of the top pros, just like you do with your golf game, watch some of the top pros and go back and watch yourself in a recording, and I think you'll learn a lot.
Any good tips that you can give them now while we're on the subject?
I would say try to be concise. It's easy to get sidetracked with one thing or another. Hopefully, I'm giving you a question that's relatively pointed in a specific time frame, but try to be concise. If the interviewer wants more, they'll keep asking more. But we of course don't want short, one-line answers, but be relatively concise. I know this is my mistake.
Try to keep it to usually a sentence or two for an answer is really good. Try to speak in sound bites. It helps everybody out, but don't give one-word answers. If Terry comes up to you and says, you really had a rough hole there on 17. What happened? Nothing.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, try a little bit. Usually, like I said, keep it to a sentence or two, a good sentence or two, and then Terry will lead you.
The one thing I will say, and this could be on my end as well, if I say something about where do you feel like, recap this, or where do you feel like it went right or wrong, or whatever, that question along those lines, some people will go back to, well, on hole 3, and then they'll want to bring me from 3 through 18, and I'm thinking, all right, give me the highlight. Give me, well, on 3 I hit a huge momentum swinging putt.
Right.
18 I was thankfully in bounds, and then the putt on 18, won it for me. Like, those are the 2 or 3 highlights I'm looking for. I don't need you to recap, 4 through 17. and again, maybe I need to lead with a better question, but sometimes I'll ask for like a recap of sorts. And some people take that a little bit too far, but there's give and take there.
Yeah, slow down is my biggest thing to tell people. Slow down.
Sure. We're not in any hurry. Nobody's in a hurry to get the interview going or done. We'll part on this shot because it is a conversation regarding Masters and the PDGA. How do you feel about interviews immediately following, say, that final putt? Let's use the Memorial, this year's Memorial. There's 4 full rounds. There's no finals or anything like that. It's 4 full rounds. Macbeth puts in from 18 feet to win it. Should we get 2 minutes out of him, or does he beeline it to the scorer's tent and then come back? How do you feel?
I think that the player should have some time. Make sure the scores are right, and then give him some time to, definitely video what he goes through afterwards, with his congratulations from his family or his girlfriend, whatever, whoever's there to celebrate with him, his, fellow card mates. You don't see people rushing the greens when really people, like when Danny whatever guy won the Masters tournament,
Sure.
He wasn't rushed by any means. When, like in basketball tournaments, after they hit the game winner, they have a little time. It's not like they just run straight to the interview. I feel like there needs to be a little bit of time to where they get to celebrate and understand what has happened, kind of thing.
Yeah, okay. I think I'm with Paul. Let them celebrate with whomever for a couple minutes. Get in with 1 or 2 real quick questions, and then let them run. Then say, hey, go get your scores taken care of. Do that, and then come back to us for a longer interview. And
I think it should just be mandatory that there's no interview right after, because they haven't won the tournament until that card's turned in.
True.
So for golf, I think they get done. They do what they have to do. They get the scores turned in, and then it's mandatory for them to meet you outside the scorer's box.
Okay.
It's mandatory for them to do their interviews, because I believe that's the same in golf. Like, they can't just win the tournament and not give an interview. Like, it's mandatory. Once it's done, they have to do those interviews.
Okay. And the one disadvantage to that, and I agree with that. I'm totally good with that mentality. The one disadvantage is, we're not, clearly we're not ESPN. So when they, when Danny drops in this putt, the announcers can say, he's won, blah, blah, blah. We're going to give him a few minutes to do up his scorecards. They're cutting to either a commercial, or ESPN has spent the last 2 hours putting together a highlight reel of Danny, and they can cut to that for the 3 to 5 minutes and have this amazing highlight reel of him. And then we come back, and then they come back and they're ready to interview him. We don't have all of, multi-billion-dollar production team to fill that gap. That's the one reason, because I feel like we lose momentum.
And we've talked about it before. If the player is keeping their own score on their scorecard, then we need to let them add it up. But there are instances like at Worlds where there is an official scorekeeper, the official guy there keeping, all right, Paul 3, Paul 2, Ricky 1.
And they still have to look at their card
Yep.
and make sure that everything's correct. Because if the official messes up, it's still on the player.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, it's something that has been highly talked about, and we want to make sure that we get it right. Like we said, we've seen both situations occur. Disc Golf Planet's been doing it for a long time. We've been doing it for a couple of years, and we've had both scenarios play out. And I think there's a consistency, and we're going to work with the PDGA, and we want to work with the players to make sure we get it right.
I feel like some of the best moments in sports also has been done after. Like you capture the actual moment of what the player's feeling right after he wins, and I feel like sometimes that maybe an interview can take away from that from the player and like think about like when Michael Jordan won his championships and he had his trophy and he was just crying with his trophy and stuff, or he ran over and he was bawling, or there's a lot of different scenarios like that where.
Well, if you win GBO, there better be a shot of you crying. I want a crying Yuli meme, kind of like the crying Jordan, the crying Yuli meme.
As you come out of the water.
Enough for the GVO.
You never know.
Hey, I might be tearing up in Emporia though.
Yeah.
Later that year.
Oh, Worlds. There you go.
Yeah, I think a couple tears have come down this year.
Okay. Or you might just be happy because you're getting 3 points because you picked yourself for that week. You just be so ecstatic.
That's the first thing I want him to say when he holds the trophy up. 3 points! Eat it, Miller!
Oh man.
Yeah.
You guys are great, man. Have a good night.
All right,
you too.
appreciate it. Have
Thanks,
a good night.
Paul.
All right, we'll see you.
See ya.
Oh, that was Yuli's picks.
He's gonna need a pick for that hair. Is what he's gonna need soon. It's getting a little longer. So glad to have him, of course, and look forward to that segment each and every week. I know we've talked about possibly having Zoe join us. I know she's not far out there in the internets, the interwebs. We also have Lazat and Eagle.
I think we could do Lazat and Eagle for the after show.
Okay.
I think that would be a lot of fun.
Okay, let's cut over to Zoe. We're gonna have an update with her. She had some exciting news for us last week, and if she's around and available still, she may have a few updates for us.
She just messaged and said, she says, "I'm here."
I'm here,
but she's not online yet.
We'll
so as soon as she gets online, we'll get her on, and we'll talk about what's going on the West Coast with her. I know she had some sound bites or whatnot from some of the women, so we'll get her. We'll get her take on the women's event that went on, or it wasn't a women's event, but the event that went on in the women's division, to her taking second to Val. So we'll get there. We'll get there.
You'll get there. All right. So Paul's picks.
Yuli's picks.
Correction, yes.
Because Paul doesn't pick Paul, so we're doing it. It's Yuli's picks.
Should be anti-Paul's picks. So there won't be any shifting in, like we said, with all of us grabbing Williams for next weekend. That'll be interesting. All right. Without further ado, coming in from the West Coast doing her thing. We're just waiting on a little video feed from her. We will be welcoming none other than our favorite Smashy here, Zoe Andike. Second place, our runner-up at the Disco Ball. How you doing tonight, Zoe?
Oh, good. How about you guys?
We're good.
We're doing good.
We're just going to adjust some volume here. So, as always, where are you at?
Guess. So, do you recognize the background?
You're at your bestie's house. I recognize that kitchen. Just to your left, I believe there's a door or something, or maybe to your right. Yep. We've broadcast from this area before.
Yep. And my best friend says hi. She's stoked.
Awesome.
Good. So last week you joined us. You had some intel about Intel, and now a week later, you're the president of the disc golf the disc golf division over at Intel. Is that what you are?
Yeah, I'm just going for president. Actually, I was thinking of the United States, but
you're not old
anyone
enough.
runs these days.
Yeah, you're not.
You're not old enough.
You're not quite old enough.
Oh yeah.
Got to be 35. But this year, with a contested conference, anyone can be it.
That's true.
Oh my gosh. Well, the good news, yeah, that's funny. Anyway, the disco ball was amazing. Thank you. I felt really great about second place, and Valerie did amazing and totally earned first with a smashing second round and really great performance. I got to watch live and play with, so that was cool. And I wanted to just touch on the disco ball for a second.
Yeah, go ahead. Tell us quickly about how that went down and what exactly happened. You said Val smashed second round.
Oh yeah, it was awesome. I mean, she literally couldn't miss a drive. It was super cool. It was giving me the chills because it was like watching myself during the practice round, right? How many times can we all say that? But she puts it all together during that tournament round and just literally smashing. And when I say that, parking, just sub 400-foot holes for drop-in birdies. And I wanted to, it goes along with the theme of kind of talking about your training and some of the stuff I just heard because I just tuned in. And things like that for tournament rounds. So the disco ball in Bend, Oregon is at a higher elevation. We call it high elevation golf. I think anytime we're above like 2,500 or 3,000 feet. What do you think about that? You agree?
Whatever number you want to give us, I think
Yeah,
that needs to be the new definition.
I was gonna say because we're
yeah,
rarely
'cause
more
I'm the
than
teacher.
we're rarely more than a couple hundred feet above sea level.
Oh, well, so you guys are going to learn tonight too. That's good. We're going to go with 2,500 because there's a certain element that most people, that throw in sea level and then higher elevations understand. Your discs really do change and your putt has to change a little bit. Now, it doesn't mean your whole form changes. It means your choices change and how fast you're trying to spin your disc and your putt should probably change. So I collected a little bit of kind of words of advice from our champion on the MPO side, who was Scotty Withers. And then I interviewed Chandler Fry, who took second place. And I asked them a little bit about their tips to throw in elevation. And I asked Val as well. So I'm going to share those things with you guys. And I think it's important for any of you out there planning to play a tournament, not at your home course, not in your hometown, that is at a higher elevation. Take notes to everything because I saw so many Valley golfers or Portland golfers, from lower elevations struggle this weekend. So I thought, wow, this is good for Smashbox material, actually. And I think I'm just going to go with the common theme from Chandler and Scotty first. And I thought it was kind of interesting. They said throw stable.
So,
is there any other answer? It's just throw stable. And I thought, well, okay. I know a lot of people that throw flippy plastic and nothing else. Would you say the same thing to them? I said, yeah. Okay, well, what else would you say to them besides throw stable? I said, well, when you're trying to flip up a shot or you're trying to force over a disc, you're trying to do something that's already just a little bit above, like beginning technique type shots. So when you're throwing a more stable disc, any elevation, it's going to go left if you're throwing a backhander. It's going to go hard right for throwing a sidearm. So let's just take those simple applicable things. It's sharp left or sharp right. And nothing is going to change except for that's going to become more dramatic at elevation. Whereas your flippy or plastic doesn't become more flippy. It actually becomes stable as well.
So the higher elevations actually stabilize your plastic is what you're saying.
Yeah. Yes.
Excellent.
Yep. And the reason for that, there's a few things, but scientifically the air is thinner. So your disc requires much more spin speed to stay in the air. It's just going to drop out. And then I bet you there's people out there that are like, man, well, that's why I would throw a flippy. But if you really want to count on your shots and you're not trying to manipulate how long you can stay in the air, you're trying to know where your shots are really going to go. I don't think trying to overthink or outthink Mother Nature is ever going to work for anybody, especially in like wind or, like anything. We can't be bigger than Mother Nature, but we can choose a better disc to play in those kind of conditions. So I really started thinking about this stable plastic talk because I think I would have recommended the opposite before I talked to these guys.
Well, yeah, you'd think that, oh, I'm used to throwing like this. I want it to go straight 300 feet. So I'm gonna throw something a little less stable for this in order to get there. But what they're saying is stick stable because it's consistent. Because
it's consistent. You're gonna throw a shot and it's gonna dive off.
Is it really? It's not gonna hurt to be a little bit more stable. Whereas if trying to play with an understable disc, there's more to manipulate. There's more to manipulate. There's more room for failure.
Sure. And so with that, I actually, sorry, my phone just rang. I was like, all right. Well, we need to talk a little bit more about like putting then, because giving that kind of huge generalization to throw stable shots or stable drives is good, but putting is really where it's all at. We're going to be, if we're throwing stable shots and more stable discs, we're probably giving up distance. So our putts are like even 10 times more important than they were before, which they're the most important. So I think all of us that putt like me or like Dustin, that's a push putter or kind of pocket speed putter, we all really need to spend a little more time on our practice on spin putting or adding spin speed to our push putt. And that's because with those really slow speed push putts that we do, literally they'll touch the chains and then just kind of fall out just because that thin air. And I watched that a few times this weekend too. I had it happen to me just once, but I knew it was my deal, my fault. I didn't spin the disc at all. I just kind of putted normally and it just fell out. So
for those you want to almost putt through the basket, not to the basket.
Yeah,
I think Avery Jenkins has coined that phrase or trademarked it.
Does he? I never. Okay.
Discmania Deep in the Game, episode 1. Putt through it, not to it.
Oh, all right. Well, because we do know some people, like we've got friends that do putt. They're more of I always call him a drop putter because he throws it way up in the air and it falls down, or like a straddle. And you're going to need to make sure to hit the chain solid or you're not going to get there.
Yeah. And I'm glad you said that, Johnny V, because I tried a couple of times in my practice round to throw the putter higher and just let it float in. And I missed just under or just over the cage doing it. And it's like, boy, the chances of that going in really weren't that good. I should be aiming at my target,
And Chuck Kennedy brings up a good point. A lot of people would think that, the thinner air, your disc would go further, it would go faster, there's less resistance, but when actually the lower air density means that the disc gets less lift, so that's why the disc actually drops more. So I'm sure there's people right now screaming on the podcast like, no, how that doesn't make any sense, but really that's what it is. There's less air to lift the disc up with the spin.
It's true. And I bet this is going to create a lot of chatter actually too on the live feed. Another thing that I was trying to coach Portland golfers or other golfers from the Valley that never played in Bend is don't throw your favorite plastic. It's all lava rock and it's all super old historic sagebrush and things that's just going to gnar up your discs, take chunks out of it. And I had a bunch of people say, well, why would I play a tournament if I didn't have my varsity plastic? And I said, oh, so you're telling me you don't have any backups and you don't trust your molds. So let's just use just those statements as our next big teaching point. Remember, if you say you throw a Wraith or a Destroyer or you fill in the mold, that you have a lot of them and you know what all of them do, because they probably all are just a little teeny bit different. But, in this situation, I wouldn't want to see someone get their favorite driver completely just that they wouldn't. You don't even really want to touch the rims of your disc after you've played in lava all that often.
Yeah, there are courses like that all over the country. In the Midwest, we've saw it with Rosendale out at Kansas City. That's a very rocky course. The upper part, it tore up when we were there. Everyone would say, and back then it was a lot of DX plastic. But you'd go through a round and you'd be like, oh, I guess I'm done with that disc. We saw that in Flagstaff. There was a course where there was just like glass everywhere on one of the courses. So I think every area has a course like that where you just you just don't play with your plastic that you love. You find its brother, its sibling.
Exactly, and that maybe might be just geared a little more towards tournament players, but even those of you out there that just play casual and don't play tournaments, I know you love your favorite frisbees. So just remember those kinds of courses that you can't protect them. So then back to Chandler, I kind of wanted to talk about his interview for just a second because. Well, first of all, Chandler he tied for the best round of the weekend on the second day. He shot a 66 and the par was 82 or 83, I believe, so whatever the math is there. And Scotty Withers shot that on the first day. So that was the hot round of the whole weekend. And it was really, really exciting to see Chandler throw that round. Chandler's been in the game for quite a while, but is still younger than I am. Young guy. I think he went pro, I believe, after just a short time playing an AM, and he didn't even start his first tournament until 2004, I believe. Started with his dad in 2003, played in 2004, moved up to pro shortly after, and I just I haven't seen Chandler travel much. He always comes to all the really great Northwest events, but Chandler is kind of a local favorite in these states. And there were stickers made for Chandler back when I didn't really know who he was, but I knew he was a big deal in disc golf. I was that much of an am. I didn't know. And I just like seeing someone like Chandler really dig deep. He's a full-time working man. He's really training hard right now, and he's trying to keep up with the touring pro scene as much as he can, yet holding down full-time job and, trying to pay for all of his, all of the regular life things and so on and so forth, but not really having a lot of time for disc golf, and then coming down and performing so well, especially against a field with, I think they had 47 open men, and, we had Doss and Dustin Keegan, obviously Scotty, who took it down, and that was a big win for Scotty. There were just tons of players, highly ranked, really well known in the Northwest, and to see Chandler come and do that kind of a thing, I think we all have our favorites from the past, and I just got to say, woohoo! Well, go Chandler, man.
Being one now, more so than even ever before, everybody roots for the weekend warrior. The person, everybody likes to see their local come out and beat the touring pros, and it's being the guys now like Terry and I are that, we don't play, and you were like, oh, look, there's a tournament. Oh, woohoo, and watching those guys come out of the woodwork. Our good friend Scott Burchard was always one of them. Someone that has a full-time job, gets to play maybe their local league, and then comes out and competes against the pros. I think that's kind of a universal, there's a universal love for those type of people.
Yeah. So great job to Chandler this weekend. And some of his closing remarks were, well, first of all, I also have to say this too about he's been on Latitude 64 for 3 years now. And, he really supports the whole trilogy idea. He actually wanted everyone to know, if I was going to say something about him personally, that he tries to carry a mold from each one of the 3 companies in his bag at all times. And he definitely is always throwing a pure and putting with a shield. He definitely wanted me to say that out loud. So I said I would do that. But I think that the love for his dedication for Latitude and how long he's been on there, and then the fact that he really supports the trilogy the way he does, that's kind of a motivator for athletes looking to be sponsored, or athletes that are sponsored that maybe don't feel like they really have a relationship or do much with their sponsor. Those are the kinds of things that I think you can really implement into your bag or to your game, and then you can blog on, or you can even take photos or videos and then post to your sponsor's website. And those are the things that not just the disc golf community is going to see. The more and more product information, or this is why I choose to be on this team, and give it the real supporting facts besides these are pretty colors and they look good. It's like, let's give the information, and other eyes besides just disc golfers will see it too. So props to Chandler for making it such a big deal that I
Yeah.
say that just how he's supporting all three of those companies. And I think he does that with just about anything he's involved with. He really wants to get into the full spectrum of why he's involved. And so I think we can all take a little bit of a example from that lead from Chandler. So great job to Chan the man. And then Scotty Withers also said the overstable plastic, the more spin on the putt. And he just said one of the biggest things, because this is his second back-to-back win at the disco ball with such a great field, something that every player hears the testimony of over and over is hard work pays off. Mm-hmm. And Scotty, with the utmost drive in his eyeballs, and you can just see his heart on his sleeve, hard work pays off. And I mean, I could say that over and over again too, but coming from the champion of the disco ball this weekend and what it means to him, he says it's his most special career win. And then it happened again. So it really is his most special career win.
Times two.
Yeah, so, doubled it up.
Yeah. Well, there's a small list of people that can say that they've beat Nate Doss, for instance, and to know that you've bested him a couple times. And yeah, I know he lives in that neck of the woods and all that other stuff. So maybe I don't know. I just I think of when you're talking about some of the best players and then going out on a obviously a challenging course over 2 grueling rounds. There's something to be said about the quality of that win. So he definitely should be proud.
Yeah, well, and those rounds, 27 holes out there. I think we played them in about close to 4.5 hours. Okay. And I know that was a common story.
That's a long
from
round.
The amateurs. Yeah, from the AMs to the pros. We just gas out. That's a long round. Play hard, practice hard. Hope that you can run the gauntlet. So yeah, and then from Val, of course, I already got to share that she shredded.
Yeah,
she was hot and she was on it, and to go along with kind of the gassing out thing, Val was birdieing everything for like over the first half of the round, and she finished out with some pars and maybe had another birdie close to the end, but I think we had 3 or 4 holes left, and she's like, I think I'm getting tired now. And I think we all kind of joked a little bit. We're like, well, you might have already won the tournament in the first half of this round, but
simmer down now. Okay. Simmer down, Val. Simmer down.
And it's just kind of goes to show there's a few people I know that are big in the strength training scene and the CrossFit scene right now in disc golf, and that speaks to what I was doing over the winter, and I get really excited to hear about what people are doing to strength train. And again, at this tournament, those folks that are doing those kinds of workouts were even just really tuckered out. So,
yeah, I mean,
players remember that happens to everyone.
I'll attest to it. I am not in any shape right now, especially not golf shape. After Saturday's round that I played, Sunday, I was sore in places. I mean, and we played 2 very smooth 3-hour rounds. The course is not grueling. There's a very little elevation. And I could feel it in my calves. Or my hamstrings, actually, not my calves. I could feel it in my hamstrings from not having stretched as well as I should have, but B, not having played. So watching, these guys need to get out there and make sure that you're prepared.
And in preparation, last tip about tournaments like these. Don't over warm up, especially for a 27-hole round. Dustin actually kind of got on me on the first day. He was like, hey, you don't need to throw your bag out and back and out and back. You need to see your shots once, and then let's go putt.
Yeah.
You're going to be throwing 27 holes today. So take some of those rhythm and routine stresses off of yourself, because I believe we can just kill ourselves before the round starts emotionally. Mm-hmm. I didn't get enough throws, or, I'm not there on time, or whatever it is. Take it how you hear it. Just don't stress yourself out extra, and remember that it's such a long day that things are going to be a little different.
Yeah. Think about the course you're going to play and adjust accordingly. If you are going to play a pitch and putt, 18 holes, sure, go out there, throw a bunch. But if you're looking at that grueling 18 or worse, the grueling 27, take it easy. Couple tosses back and forth, couple putts, find your groove, and then be happy.
Yep.
Zoe, where might we see you again next, or where might we run into you in person?
Okay. Well, I'm going home to Portland tomorrow, or the Portland area tomorrow. And I have the weekend off. And then I'm going to play the Liquid Sunshine Open in Salem.
Okay.
Following weekend is Whistler's Bend, the North Umpqua Invitational, and then I'll be down at Daisy Chains. So.
Okay, so I'm actually not going to see you
I
anytime
wasn't.
soon.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if you were going to be at GBO, so you are not making it, or
No, I was signed up for both that and Nick Hyde and KC Wide Open, and with all the exciting news kind of happening with Intel and the need to be on campus while I actually can. And getting their league started and getting that tournament ready for them before the Beaver State Fling for us. That took precedence for sure. Also, Dustin's kind of finishing up with some work duties, and he wasn't able to go to the Glass Blown either. So seeing as how, we're pretty much business partners, training partners, travel partners, I thought it'd be the best decision to, kind of clean up locally, hopefully, and do the work thing. And stay on the West Coast. So I won't see you guys there. I will see you at the Masters Cup, Terry.
All right. Well, that sounds pretty exciting. I'm looking forward to that.
Yep.
All right.
And
so
last little update for Women's Global event, if I can.
Yes.
Val just texted me. The biggest news there is that we have reached 1,300 players.
Yes.
Bravo.
1,300 awesome chicas have signed up. Yeah.
That's awesome.
That's what I've got
I think I saw that number just recently, and did I mention it earlier? I think I mentioned it earlier. Yeah, exciting. I was just guessing, but it's confirmed. 1,300 and counting. How much longer do they have to sign up? A few more weeks yet? Another week or two, or all the way up in? Yeah, I guess it depends because there was a player pack thing, whatever. So yeah, keep signing up. I know in Wisconsin we're down to 1, and then there was maybe 1 or 2 spots available. Let me look. 2. So the Wisconsin Women's Global event, the Foxy Ladies held at the Gray Fox course where I just had the event this weekend. That is on the website. That's down to 2 people. 2 women are eligible to sign up yet. So that means we have 70.
So remember, ladies, continue to sign up, continue to show up. If you miss the signups because you were thinking about it too hard, still go to the event. You won't miss signups next year. I'm sure of that.
Exactly. All right, Zoe, thank you for the West Coast update. So much more informative than what that lazy Dana gives us. Dana doesn't do any interviews. I mean, come on.
That's true.
So I'm excited for when Dana and I are sitting next to each other and we're at the same location giving updates. It'll be fun. You guys will be talking back and forth live, and we'll be talking back and forth live. I don't know when that'll happen.
We should just fly. Let's all convene. We'll just fly you guys in every week. Have a Smashbox party. I mean, we're almost big enough. Okay, we're not. All right. Well, thank you for the updates. Great shooting this weekend. Taking second to the champ in Val is no small feat. So congratulations, and thanks for the updates, and keep at it. Hopefully we'll hear from you next week or 2.
Yep. We'll see you soon.
Thanks, Zoe.
See you, Zoe.
Bye-bye.
Later. And, of course, again, our West Coast correspondent, Zoe Andike, giving us some details from the disco ball. Congrats. Sounds like a couple of really long days playing 2 rounds of 27.
When was the last time you played a 27-hole
It's
event?
been a while. I was going to say last year when I ran this same event, the Skyline Classic.
Ran it.
Yeah, it was 2 round 2, but that 27-hole course isn't grueling by any means.
It's 18. The 18 main 18 aren't bad, which is what we played this weekend, and then the 9.
It was a mixture, but they're relatively easy.
It's flat. There's not a lot of hills, so yeah, it's not too bad. It's a great course, but.
So that will be the location for the the Foxy Ladies women's disc golf event going on here in Wisconsin. If somehow that sells out, go find the next closest one and make sure you get signed up again. 1,300 women signed up around the world. That's exciting.
And did we figure out how much longer they have to sign up? Total?
I don't know. They may be able to all the way up until that day.
Sure.
Depending on the individual.
That's Mother's Day weekend.
No, it's the weekend after.
It's the weekend after. Okay.
They may be able to sign up. That's going to all depend. A few years ago, there was a huge push for pre-reg because there was a certain amount of players packs, and the same was this year. That player pack number has come and gone. So if it's up to the local event, they may have all the way up until that day to get signed up, assuming there's still spots spots in that given area or at that specific event. Yeah. So we talked about it earlier on the show. Next week is when we're going to probably see, next week, Tuesday, in fact. That's so nice. The PDGA releases their ratings when we have our shows as well.
So we can cry at our ratings?
No, so we have something to talk about.
Oh, I'm
glad
I know.
they didn't move it. Oh, wait, no, it's always been on Tuesdays. But yeah, next week, Tuesday, we should have some new ratings updates, and we'll be able to discuss those. I believe next week, I'll throw it out there now, we are going to have Hannah and Dustin Leatherman, who are going to be talking
awesome.
About their project and what they're doing with Eagles Wings. It's this great program that they have set up along with Jim Schultz. And Hannah and Dustin will be joining us. And speaking of Hannah, this all ties in. They're going to the Collegiates event super early in the morning. Otherwise, they were going to join us tonight. Mm-hmm. But next week's going to work great. Hannah, I put up an interview that I had done with Hannah at Throwdown the Mountain just a couple weeks ago. She was one of the other recently named Adidas-sponsored players.
Yeah, there is a great article. Did you read the article on Ulta World?
Of course I did.
Awesome. We don't always do that. So I read it as well, basically giving a history of how the sponsorship came to be. Talked about Chris Brophy and his involvement with it. This is not just a recent event, that it's gone back up to 20 years. And, the groundwork, so to speak. I know the actual sponsorships are relatively new, but the groundwork has been laid for years and years. And that it sounds like, while this year, obviously, these major companies, they're like the Titanic and they can't turn very fast. They have their priorities set for the year. But the number that shocked me was that after Macbeth was announced as a sponsor, 850 pairs of his style shoes were sold the next day. That which I assume is a large majority of golfers.
Yeah, in speaking with Paul shortly after that article all gone down, I think I saw him just a couple days after that. He was telling me that number of those figures, and as the article says, those are types of things that have direct impact that they can show, and it was easy because that particular shoe and style, I mean, they had, of course, a track record or, some kind of a running record of how the shoes had been selling. So it was just that. It was this enormous spike immediately following the announcement. And not all the time do we have this chance when a sponsor gets on board. Can you go out and do something that will have a direct result or impact or have, show this spike? In this particular case, it was just that. And talk about showing some of the star power or buying power or whatever you want to call it, some of the influence.
And like you said, that is what we need to do. We need to support the sponsors that support our players. Things like that are going to help maybe next year, if now that this has been brought to the table, now that they see the numbers that Paul, the outreach that Paul has, maybe they put that on the agenda and say, this is something we need to seriously look into. We need to get these players, more players on board, and all it takes is one company to do that. Because, I kind of equate it to Hollywood. Once you have one hit, every other studio is trying to manufacture that. Like, I think we're going to see a whole bunch of more sci-fi stuff, just like we've seen superhero stuff now that Star Wars is back. If Adidas steps up and starts sponsoring, you don't think that Nike maybe, or I'm drawing blanks on other manufacturers. Atonic, yeah. Kangaroo.
Yeah, they have big shoe
That's right.
presence still.
Anyway, so the other manufacturers,
K-Swiss,
there you go, aren't going to step up. I think you're going to see that. So Crocs,
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
yeah, they're killing it these days.
So yeah, it's things like that we need to do as a community. We need to do as golfers. Get together. Our buying power does matter. We vote with our pocketbook, so to speak, and show these manufacturers that we're not to be forgotten.
Well, it will be exciting to see. So, again, we'll have Hannah. You can go out to, if you go out to the Disc Golf Guy fan page, that's where I had put a video up. It's only a minute and a half or 2 minutes where I caught up with Hannah. She'll give you a real quick rundown as to what it means to her and what it means to the sport. So that's available, but her and her husband, Dustin, will be joining us next week.
Was there any reason why they picked Hannah Why Hannah? I mean, we have
Watch the
lots
vlog.
of okay. I
Watch
was gonna
the-
say
no.
we have lots of very qualified women, and Hannah is newer to the scene for some of these top women. So I do you get into that in the vlog? Don't ruin it. I just want to know.
No, basically she took the initiative to reach out to them as
Good.
as an Adidas fan and wear herself. Wear her, yeah. She adorns their garb. How's that? Is that better? So she's always been an Adidas fan. She has a soccer background.
Okay.
So that all made perfect sense. And as many of you can tell, there's an Innova theme here where this has started. Chris Brophy being with Innova, Paul Macbeth, obviously Innova, and then Juliana Corver, as well as Hannah here, all being women that, or those last two being women of Innova. So not that there's an exclusivity with Innova people and Adidas at the moment. They just happen to be thus far. So I know Innova is helping inlay some of those roads and be be a little bit of a conduit there. So, but that's not to say somebody else,
Sure.
male or female, couldn't be next. It's just it's kind of gone through the Innova channels thus far. That's I think the best way to put that.
Yeah.
So yeah, very exciting.
That's fantastic. So yeah, if you want to go read up on kind of the whole history, ultiworld.com, ultiworld.com, and it's right there. They've got a whole disc golf section there, killing it lately with a lot of their articles.
Yeah, they've been doing a really good job posting, getting more in depth, more detailed about some of these things that are happening around our sport. So it's great to see them take a. I gloss over things. We touch on some things and go in depth. They go really in depth with like real articles and
Real facts,
Real
real
research.
knowledge, real research.
quotes that they probably don't make up like I do.
Secrets of the game, baby. Secrets of the game.
Stuff like that. So it's great to see. Going back to the Masters real quick, I had posed the question because I had received some heat and criticism when I had singled out Derek Billings' putt. And now here at the Masters, that was the biggest conversation on the opening day.
Oh, yeah.
There's no doubt about it.
Yep.
And it was kind of funny because it was very much reported as a 10 for the longest time. And then it was actually figured out later that it was only quote unquote a 9. What did you think about how they covered it? And even did you see the interviews with him afterwards?
No, I didn't. I didn't get a chance to look at anything.
Yeah,
I'm going to be useless to you here.
Well, apparently Els has been struggling with the yips as he's called them, and I'm not a golf putter with a stick by any means, so I can't fathom that. But you're talking about most of those putts were off by like an inch.
Yeah.
An inch or two, and those things, that pain is ended much earlier. And I wouldn't, being an uninformed golf viewer, I wouldn't have looked at that and thought, oh, this guy's got the yips. I was just thinking, okay, he's just off by an inch, but
Yep.
he took an interview pretty well afterwards. Of course, he's got to talk about it, as Yuli said.
You
Sometimes
have
those
to.
things are tough. But what a on the opening hole though. That's not even like you got through 17 of
Yep.
them, and on the opening round final hole you killed yourself. Opening hole of the Masters.
Well, it was a 9. Yeah.
It was ultimately a 9. The highest.
He still. I mean, he didn't lose it that round. I mean, had he played well. I mean, look at Jordan took a 7
Sure.
after followed up by 2 bogeys, and he still had a chance. So he didn't lose it in that one hole, but he sure dug himself a hole to get out of.
Yeah. Well, that was the only hole he could get in that day.
That's
apparently,
right.
Because the rest didn't go well. So it was interesting to see as to how the media handled it. How it was the biggest talk of the entire
it's-
tournament.
It's a big deal. I mean, it's kind of funny because I'm trying to equate it to a disc golf thing. I mean, that would be like hitting the basket, rolling down, hitting the basket, getting up in your disc rolling, just back and forth. It's tough because, as we know, it's not always easy to even lay up.
Yeah.
At some point, if you're golfer or disc golfer, you think, I've already put this many shots in. Why lay up now?
Yeah, and in that case, It was different in the sense that it was he couldn't lay up. He just couldn't make it from 2 feet.
Yeah, it was just boom, 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 boom.
Yeah, it was brutal
we don't
to
really
watch.
we don't really have that equivalent from that close.
Other than somehow you missing like
a 10-footer.
A 10-footer over and over, which that I've never seen.
No, nor have I. I mean, we've seen people miss 15, 20, 30 footers, blow past, miss a comeback, but rarely, if ever, for our pros, anyone on the scene, so to speak, will you see miss
from
that often?
Yeah, or
from
from
that
a
short
legitimate
distance.
10 feet more than more than once. It doesn't really happen. So it's relatable, but not in some ways. So, all right. Do we got anything else in the news? I had a note here somewhere. I got to think where I put it. There was some other exciting stuff that I did want to mention, but now I don't remember where it went. So I guess I'm going to have to skip it for now. I'm sure I'll remember it in the after show.
Somebody just put, there's a video of that one guy putting at the basket at the Gentlemen's Club. That's the video that Terry and I were talking about, that Terry recorded with Derek Billings.
Yes, that is exact. And again, that was different in the sense that there was an element of being able to lay up. He just didn't want to.
Yep.
Because he continued to go for it.
And it wasn't like he kept missing 10 or 12 footers. He was
Yeah.
running at it and either rolling away or running at
or
it
the
missing.
wind was catching it,
it was
or whatever
back
the
and
case
forth.
might be. So similar but different.
Oh, someone says the Derek Billings video is heartbreaking. I disagree. I find it humorous, not for Derek, but in general as watching a golfer. Because you can tell at some point that heartbreaking would be if he was sitting there trying so hard. At some point,
Or that it was the final hole.
Or it was near.
And
Derek kind of, you could tell that he was taking it in good, in good stride and whatever. And so I don't find it. I mean, it's different for everybody, but
yeah, it wasn't. I don't think it was. It was brutal in a different way. If that's a fair way to assess it. All right. Well, I think we can wrap things up. I think, although we may have put them on hold too long, I'm not sure. We'll reach back out to Simon and Eagle and see if they can join us here in the after show as we kick that off. But hopefully they'll be around. So we're going to wrap things up. We would like to thank, of course, Dynamite Vici for giving us our report, as well as Matt Siri, who gave us both the AM side report for the Nick Hyde and the Pro Weekend, which is coming up in 2 weeks. Of course, Zoe Andyke and Paul Ulibarri chiming in and giving us picks and updates, all sorts of good stuff. It was a pretty informative night. A little less BS and more information.
it's not like the Smashbox.
That's
I know.
not like, that's not like us at all. And we're only 2.5 hours in, so stick around. We're gonna have an after show. Hopefully, we'll have Eagle McMahon and Simon Lizotte join us. If not, we'll just impersonate them.
Who do I get to be? Anyway.
All right. So for Podcast 84 and all of us at Smashbox, thank you for tuning in. We'll catch you next time when you step inside the Smashbox. All right, everyone, and welcome to Podcast 84's After Show. Johnny V and Terry Miller here in the Milwaukee studios. We just got done having a pretty informative show with our some regular guests and segments. We had Zoe, we had Dana, we had Ulibarri, and then we also talked with Matt Siri of Heiserbaum and of the Nick Hyde Memorial. So we teased them and we tagged them along long enough. We're going to see if they're available. We have referenced Simon Lizotte and Eagle McMahon. We're going to see if they are up for a little after show action. I'm going to see if we can get them dialed up and on board. In the meantime, I'd like to thank my pal Tina Stenitis of Whale Sacks, who helped this last weekend with some great player pack items for my Skyline Classic. So, without further ado, though...
You always say without further ado. I'm done with that. Stop it.
Okay. So then, now joining us...
There you go. Better.
There we go. Now joining us...
Smile.
The two of the longest throwers on the planet, Simon Lizotte, Eagle McMahon. How are we doing tonight?
Yeah, rub that in. Nice, Terry. Not quite the longest, but...
Two of the longest throwing.
I know.
How does that feel, guys... that knowing that record is so tough to ever obtain now?
Depressing.
Yeah.
At your young age, Eagle, does that at all deter you from wanting to go out and still attempt the record?
I definitely like to try it sometime, but just thinking 1,100 feet, you have to have ideal conditions. Like, I'm guessing you'd have to have like 60 to 70 mile per hour winds to even make it worth it now.
Okay.
So the idea of going out there like next year, it doesn't sound very appealing to me.
Okay, fair enough. Well, I will now remember what I was going to talk about, and it's perfect I have you guys for it. This a few days ago, there was an announcement made about an event in Colorado, and the ratings cap on it was that you couldn't be rated above 985. And I think it was you Eagle, or someone else that said that affected 7 people in Colorado. What does that mean to you guys to see a ratings cap like that, where you're essentially too good to play?
It doesn't really affect me.
Because you weren't in Colorado, or just because you don't care?
Both.
Okay. Okay.
But fun fact about Colorado, my first throw ever in the state of Colorado was a hole-in-one.
Wow.
You should have just left.
Just leave the state. You're done.
I left the next day.
Was it Trick Shot Tuesday? And you're like, I'm done?
I don't remember. It's 2 years ago.
Where was it at?
You know what's the course?
My home course, Valmont Disc Golf Park. It's not a disc golf park, but it's Valmont Disc Golf Park.
Not that we're doing any product plugs or placement there.
I just thought someone was trying to put their arm around Eagle. I thought someone was getting friendly.
All right, so where are you guys at, and what are you doing?
We are at
Austin, Texas.
Austin, Texas, at Micah Moon's.
Oh, that guy.
And
That guy.
hours.
He's painting a picture right now.
Of you two? That would be pretty awesome.
Yeah. He's gonna show us the picture.
That is a beautiful
That's
picture.
a beautiful picture. Wow, that's really good.
Wow, love it. Hey, Micah, how you doing, buddy?
Not bad. How are you?
Good, good.
Oh, nice.
Very nice. So I envision Micah painting, Eagle eating a pita, and Simon like serenading them. What's going on here?
That's pretty accurate, actually.
Sounds like a really nice night, a really good Tuesday night in Texas.
It's literally what's happening.
Are you teaching Eagle how to play guitar, or does Eagle already know?
That was happening 30 minutes ago.
Okay.
And what are your pro tips? What have your pro tips been?
Learn quicker.
Learn quicker. All right.
That sounds awfully encouraging.
You know, it's Eagle's birthday in 25 minutes.
What?
Say what? We're gonna get. Oh, jeez.
18.
18. He'll be
18.
18. All right, Eagle. So what are your plans? We talk to Simon quite frequently. What are your plans for the tour life this upcoming season?
Well, I just got on the Maniac with Eric and Simon, so it's a new life for sure. Like usually I've been I've been touring, but I've been going out like 1 or 2 weeks at a time, just going back and forth, and that's fun, but it doesn't get that full tour life feeling. But now it's like you got to go through all your clothes before you do laundry. You gotta
Budget
a lot more. So I'm definitely thinking about it a little bit more.
Okay.
I was gonna ask, what are you most looking forward to, and what most scares you about being out on tour?
Just getting homesick, really. Just being on wheels all the time, that can get a little tiring because, everyone wants to be in a comfortable spot. And on tour, most of the places will be comfortable, but a few, you're going to be like, I really wish I had my own bed right now. but Simon and Eric are used to it, and they'll make me feel better, right?
Of course.
So
does Simon even know what his own bed feels like anymore? I mean, you've been on tour for so long.
Yeah, It's a very different. Every time I get to Germany, to my home bed, it's something special every time, and I really enjoy it.
You're a big fan of sleeping.
Something special goes on in Simon's bed whenever he's there.
Released here. All right, so Eagle, you guys have been both doing vlogs. Tell us what the plan is for the vlogs from each of your perspectives.
Okay, you go first.
Yeah, so I started vlogging a bit with Eric on tour. Eric is a really fun character to have around and very entertaining on camera. So it just set up that way. And Eagle was, in this case, he was like my inspiration to start doing that kind of stuff. And it was just, yeah, having fun out there, just trying to show people how true life is. Because I know a lot of people would love to do what we are doing. So I want to try and share a bit so people can kind of live with us on tour.
All right.
And I was going to say, I don't think enough people get that feeling of what it's like, what it's really like to be on tour. I would love to see a more, maybe even, there's obviously the humor and whatnot, but even some of the downtime, like, hey, this is us having to make a stop at the laundromat where I have to take up for the next 4 hours. I'm sitting here doing laundry. I don't think people think a lot about that. Or I'm staying at someone's house and they're letting me use their washer and dryer or things like that. I think that could be a really interesting series to put out.
Yeah, I definitely want to work more on that in the future. My vlogs right now are more like just highlight reels of practice rounds or just funny stuff going on. Eagle goes more into random stuff.
Yeah,
Eagle,
very random.
You've been talking, I've seen some of yours with, giving score and round updates, things of that nature. What's your vision for your vlogs?
I just want the viewer to get like the full experience. Like if I could have my way, I'd do round coverage in between, but that's like an hour-long video, and I can't focus on my round during that time.
Well, lucky for us.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I've been watching disc golf videos for so long, and whenever someone uploaded a video, kind of like an informal vlog, funny, or seeing like seeing a top pro act goofy, that's just really cool to see. So now that I'm in this position, I feel like I can give back.
So what do you want to see? I mean, you've said you've been watching videos for forever. Terry, one of the more prolific disc golf vloggers out there, what did you want to see? What do you want to see more of? Do you want to see more interviews? Do you want to see more round coverage? Do you want to see more pros acting stupid? What do you want to see, Eagle?
I'd say a good mix of all of them. I think round coverage is always the most important because people just want to watch disc golf. And a good interview is always good too, because then you kind of get the personality of the pro, what they act like, how they feel about their round, just kind of ties it all together.
And narrating the round.
And commentary.
Just watch a video that just
What they're feeling
yeah.
throughout the round.
I mean,
It's awesome whenever y'all are like doing it on back, coming back and like talking about the round or whatever.
yeah, commentary is always good.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's always been interesting. The debate's been going on for years. Commentary, whether it's by me or by the pros, have it or not, it seems like it's always a huge debate.
Mm-hmm.
Clearly we've seen other video guys have it and then not have it. So I'm a big fan of it. I like seeing it and hearing it and having it on there. Earlier today, Simon, was I right in saying you had a pretty serious bowl of ice cream?
Oh, that video, my God.
Talk about it.
That's so,
Talk about it.
it's only in America. It's been so weird. Every time I order an ice cream, I like to go really small on ice cream.
Mm-hmm.
And I order 2 scoops. Like in Europe, 2 scoops is something everyone can finish. Like it's for kids. And I order 2 scoops and get this bowl that is just overflowing with ice cream. And there's no way I could ever finish that. So I was just eating until my belly hurt.
What flavor was it?
The top flavor was chocolate mint, and the bottom one was chocolate.
Okay. Right. So, Eagle, well, this goes for both of you, and I think this is a really just generic topic that applies to a lot of people out there. Talk about how challenging it is to try to eat healthy when you're on the road. Everyone's got their different likes and dislikes, but you guys have at least a vehicle where something could get stored. But talk a little bit about what it's like when you're out on the road and trying to maintain a somewhat healthy lifestyle.
Taco about it.
Taco about it.
Taco.
Well, there's a good little story from this the A tier last weekend at the Open in Woodville, Texas.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, middle of nowhere. Like, the only option was like Subway for me, and I'm really not used to eating that.
Okay.
So, a good little story is after the tournament was over, we were driving back from Woodville to Austin, which is like a 3-hour drive. We had to stop in the way, so all the guys I'm with just eat Whataburger, which is this Texas burger place. And all I have is a gas station, potato chips, peanut butter, and old ripped up tortillas. So I go into Whataburger and I just grab every condiment I can find.
I don't know if I like where this is going. And
I get a plate, scoop out the peanut butter, black pepper, potato chips, ketchup, and salt.
That sounds disgusting. Like
So hungry that I just chow down on it.
I think that would be good without the ketchup. Like peanut butter and chips and some
peanut butter
salt.
and chips aren't a bad combo.
No, I agree with you. I think it's a good combo.
But
you throw the ketchup in there.
And the worst part about it was that it wasn't that bad.
well, we know what the new superfood is here.
That's right.
For Eagle.
But generally, if you're in a bigger city, you can find healthy options pretty easily.
Okay.
So, like in Austin, I've had a new vegan place every day so far, every meal, and I'm just loving life right now.
Yeah, Austin is like the cutting edge of Texas. I mean, you're looking at a much, we'll say younger, but a much more affluent and vibrant community. More so than you'll get maybe in like even a Dallas or something like that. Austin's the place for you to be.
And how do you feel about all of that, Simon? Is McDonald's still your favorite?
McDonald's in the U.S. is really, really bad.
Everything in the U.S. is really,
it's kind of the same everywhere, but McDonald's is horrible. Everyone knows that. Mm-hmm. And since Eagle joined the tour, we eat a lot healthier because we just feel like we have to.
Good.
Guilt you into it.
Feed him somehow, right?
Well,
so you speak of we, and you mentioned Eric. Where the tour coordinator, manager? Where's he at? What's he got going on?
He's on a date.
He's on a date.
Does Tina know?
With Tina.
Oh, okay. Wasn't sure there. So what's next for you guys? I know the combine is kind of getting worked in, and I know you guys have events, but what's next on the schedule for you two?
We're going to Waco tomorrow to start practicing for Texas States.
And Texas, how long were you watching the podcast?
Did you see earlier?
My dad called me.
So some of us may not have picked you guys to win.
Mm-hmm.
Some of us.
Oh wait, what happened?
This is before we tuned in.
Before you tune in,
what happened?
Yeah, we have Yuli's picks as I'm sure you probably know, and all of us picked Bradley Williams to win this weekend. So I know he's tough to beat.
Practice.
He's tough to beat in Texas. So we're wishing you guys the best. But what are you guys gonna do to practice? Have you played the courses?
I played the course.
Okay.
And the front nine is very big arm friendly.
Mm-hmm.
Like the inside can score very well, but the back nine is extremely technical. But I think we both can throw through the woods, so we're not worried.
Okay.
I feel like it can be anyone's game out there, really.
Yeah, we do our picks secretly, separate from from one another, and it was, I think we all had the home state advantage that we were giving to Bradley. We all thought that Williams would have somewhat of an advantage there, but each of us picked you guys to finish either second or third, and of course we'd love to be wrong. What's going to be the difference out there?
That Johnny and Yuli picked me as fourth. So don't lie.
Oh,
I did.
Ouch!
I did because I put
Ouch!
Seaborn.
You hear that? Oh my god!
Because I put
You want me to
Miles
punch him?
Seaborn as second. I put Miles Seaborn.
Oh yeah, and I put Miles fourth because I like you two better. Just because we're talking to you. No.
Yeah, where's Miles? I don't see him on our podcast.
No. Okay. Wow, you guys picked him.
I did. I picked.
Ouch.
Look, Miles Seaborn's been playing very well, and
If you
Eagle.
saw my last round at Woodville, it's probably an accurate thing.
And I wasn't sure. The reason I picked Eagle fourth was because I wasn't sure how much you've been playing with your finger and things like that. So how does the hand and the finger feel right now?
My index finger is pretty much all better. I've been throwing with tape on it, so I'm trying to take that off.
Middle finger.
Not yet. I'm getting to that. I've been throwing with tape on it, so I need to get the calluses back.
Okay.
But for me to throw sidearm right now is kind of hard because my middle finger has been flaring up as of late. It's my middle finger has been like this for like 4 years.
Yeah, I think you showed a picture that it's like.
Okay, put it down. Put it down.
Terry's getting queasy. It looks like it's almost like out of socket or out of like I don't know. It's got that bulge on the side of it. For the audio viewers, Eagle was showing his hand and his middle finger, right, kind of near his middle knuckle, was bulging out of one side.
It's been like that for 4 years, and it hasn't really bothered me. On backhand shots, it doesn't hurt, but I think from sidearm, it just the way the disc comes off, it bends the finger in the direction it's moving. So I haven't been throwing as many sidearms, unfortunately. But when I have to break one out, I can.
Okay.
So.
And how far can each of you max out when it comes to sidearms? We know how you guys can throw long ways backhands, but what about your sidearm shots?
We made a video of that, our Q&A on YouTube.
Yeah, that's when I have a weak sidearm.
Oh yeah, I sidearm maybe around 400 feet.
Okay. And Eagle?
On a good day.
On a good day, maybe 5.
Wow.
Yeah, it got good, but now it's bad.
I think most people would be happy with that. And what about the relationship with the combine? I know you guys are playing this weekend, but what's the? Are you guys going to be there for some of them? Are you helping out, or what's your plan there?
So the first 2 combines were last weekend. We did one in Dallas, and then one in Austin. Saturday Dallas, Sunday Austin, and they were really good events. Like the upshots, through the drives, through the putting, through the speed gun, through the round of golf we play. It's a really fun event, and I think everyone who came and participated in it really enjoyed it. The opportunity is really awesome for people to get a chance to get sponsors, because that's one of the most asked questions I get is, how can I get sponsored? How will sponsors notice me? And that event will just put you out there. We recognize your names from there on, and we'll just keep watching you. And it was just really fun, all in all.
And do you recall the winners, who they were, off the top of your head?
No.
Something Harris.
Chris Harris won in Austin. I don't remember who won in
Shout out to
Dallas.
He's a youngster.
Okay, yeah, we see Chris Harris coming in on the board. I've just got a late breaking question here that's come in privately, and I need to ask you, Simon.
Yeah.
About the tattoo you got in Texas.
I did not get it. Well, I did get a tattoo, but it was like a fake one.
Oh, okay. Is there any more to that story?
Can you still see some of it?
You just want to flex.
No.
You can only see my nice tan line.
Yep. That
it
we do
was
see.
just a fairy with like glitter on it and stuff.
Oh, it sounds nice.
It was beautiful.
Why not make it permanent?
I saw myself like on pictures and videos with that tattoo, and I was like, that looks pretty cool. I gotta get it.
That's pretty badass right there.
Yeah. Well, we kind of have a standing offer. If anybody wants to get a Smashbox tattoo, we help out with that. Dutch, Batman, he went out and made it happen on his own. So just saying, if you want a Smashbox tattoo.
Are you? So Simon, you currently don't have any tattoos?
Correct.
are there any plans in the future for a tattoo, or is it just something you're not doesn't interest you?
No plans, but I'm open to the idea once I get something I'm sure of that I want for the rest of my life.
All right.
Would a world championships for either of you, would that be significant enough to get some tattoo that commemorates that?
No.
No.
Okay. Simon,
I
no.
don't want ink on my body.
You don't want what?
I don't want ink on my body.
No. Okay. That's yeah. All right. I'm so for Terry and I are both in the no tattoo zone at this currently, and
Yeah.
it's not that I'm anti-tattoo. I just haven't found. I'm with Simon. I haven't found anything I want to put on my body permanently yet. So.
How about something from Yuli's? No, never mind. Yuli's picks won't work. All right. So, how long are you guys going to be hanging out with Mr. Micah?
Till the end of the night.
Oh, okay. And then you move on, or what?
Got the 2 atoms there too.
So
Yeah, we're leaving to Waco tomorrow. We have a flying circus at 4, and we're gonna practice the course. If the weather holds up, it's been super nuts out here tonight. Like huge thunderstorm, crazy rain, and tomorrow morning looks kind of the same way in Waco, but it should clear off for the clinic at least, and then we'll be in Waco for the rest of the week, and then drive up to Dallas to prepare for the Hyde.
Talk a little bit about the Flying Circus Tour and the things that you guys are doing and what that all means for somebody who hasn't heard about that or seen it or knows that it's coming to town. Give everyone the quick plug for what that does, what it means.
Yeah, Eagle was at the first Flying Circus ever today for him. It was cool to have him there. He helped a lot. He's obviously good to have there as like a showcase distance partner. And yeah, the events are really fun. We have the radar gun, of course. We do the 1-minute putting challenge, which is new. We have like 50 putters that people can try the challenge of how many 30-footers can you make in 1 minute. And that's a really fun thing to do for attendance, because no one has 50 putters at home to ever try that challenge. So that's a fun thing. And then I do a distance clinic, and I do a little one-on-one sessions with everyone with some slow-mo videos, and just try to give everyone the opportunity to throw further.
And then I saw a few weeks ago that you had, I think we talked about it on the show, you had a new personal best for throwing into the radar gun. Was that 103?
Yeah, I threw 103 miles an hour. I don't know how those 3 digits keep popping up. I've done it 3 times, and all my other tries are like mid-90s at best.
And,
I threw a 98 today, actually.
Okay, and that was, of course, going to be my next question is, Eagle, you want to try and top that, don't you?
It was my first time today, and I got 94.
And how do you feel about that?
I feel like it was okay.
Do you think the 103 is a fluke? Do you think it's a misread? What do you think, or do you think you're really throwing at 103? Are you find that those shots, because if you're saying
it's kind of weird how it works, because like the one I threw 94, I didn't necessarily like do a huge run up or run up super fast. It was more of just like a controlled 360. And when I run up super fast and like all my effort, it only goes like 80s, like lower 80s.
Well, so because I've always thought like it's got to be difficult for the radar gun to be able to read a flat disc. Like at least a baseball, there's more surface area, but for a flat disc like that, what does it really measure? Is it measuring your hand speed? Is it measuring the disc speed? I don't know.
It's the same thing.
Yeah, well, you'd think so, but it depends when. I know there's not a lot of time from when you let go of the disc to when it hits the net, but it slows down the instant it leaves your hand.
Yeah, it measures peak speed, so whatever moves the fastest in that time, it'll measure.
Okay, so all right, so that makes sense then.
So now you know.
Now I know. That's great. I'm sure a lot of other people had that question.
What is, when you go there, or when you guys are hosting these, Simon, what is like a common high number? Like people, typically throw in like the 70s or the 80s or whatever. You're throwing in the 90s and sometimes triple digits. But what's like kind of a pretty standard good high number that people are showing up at, your normal people?
High 60s.
Okay. So that's a considerable difference.
high 60s is the standard, and there's sometimes a couple people who can go 70s, low 70s, and I've seen maybe a handful of people go 80s, but not more than a handful.
Okay. And is there, when you're talking one-on-one with these players, do you touch on any of that as to how they can increase that speed, or are you talking about other body mechanics normally?
I just want to give them a good form all in all. Increasing speed and just improving is all about repetition and practice. And I only have like 2 or 3 minutes with each and every one of those, because today we were 30 people, and if I want to go one-on-one with 30 people, then I can't give them that much time.
Sure. Mm-hmm. Now, does the Flying Circus, somebody asked on the board, does Flying Circus cost any money, or is it open for everybody?
Yeah, we take $40. You get a free disc, you get a mini, you get a 10% coupon for Discmania online store, and there's a bunch of chances to win discs throughout the event, doing the putting challenge, or we're going to play some radar gun games, like try to hit numbers, and if you hit your number, you get a disc. Stuff like that. It's just really fun.
Okay.
Let's switch gears just a little bit, because there's obviously a lot of talk about the tours and things that are going on. Simon, I saw that you're going to be at the next World Tour event. Is that correct?
I'm going to be at all the World Tours events.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I think in talking to someone earlier today, it was you and Paul and Nate stuck out, along with maybe Felberg and Wysocki. Does that sound about right for the most notable, we'll say, U.S. players? I mean, yourself excluded, but you know what I mean?
I know what you mean, but I have not looked at the list.
Okay.
I have no idea.
Okay. How do you feel about how that's going to fit into the schedule? Because that's going to take place during Kansas City Wide Open
weekend. Yep.
So you'll be at GBO, and then you'll be flying back overseas?
Yeah, I'm flying right the Sunday right after GBO, because we have to get there, do the media days and stuff like that. So there's always going to be a lot going on. I'm really looking forward to that trip, just being back in Europe in general, and that course is one of the top courses in the world. So I'm really looking forward to what that event will bring. And then I'm going to stay in Europe till Worlds.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm missing out on Masters Cup, missing out on St. Jude, just because it would have been too much.
Yeah,
I'm already flying back and forth 3 times this year. Doing 4 times is possible, but if I want to keep competing on a high level, it would have just been too much.
So, and I'll ask. I was going to ask the same to both of you then. Not just Pro Tour, but maybe even things like the AM Worlds that are coming to Wisconsin. Of course, we have a special tie to that, being just down the road from us, an hour from where we're at right now. Will either of you be? It doesn't sound like either of you will maybe be at AM Worlds in any capacity, huh?
July. I mean, not for Simon, but I'm kind of figuring out what I'm doing as far as touring right now. So there is a slight possibility.
So, Eagle, will you take over some of the roles if when Simon goes overseas and you're in the van? You'll be taking over maybe some of those circus roles and clinic roles and things of that nature?
We're talking about it right now. It all depends on how we finish out this tour, and if Discmania wants to set me as their U.S. guy when Simon's gone. So, I mean, anything's a possibility, and I'd love to do it. Definitely.
Okay.
Hint, UC.
Oh!
Yeah.
Happy birthday!
Happy birthday! So do you have it? Is there? I mean, I know there's probably not much of a difference between a minute ago and now, but is there anything that you want to do now that you're 18 that you couldn't do before? I mean, 18 isn't what? I was maybe.
What are some things that you can do as you're 18?
Strip club cigarettes.
You could go to a casino.
Most casinos.
Scratchers.
Yep. Lottery tickets. Casinos.
You can now legally buy cigarettes. Yeah.
Adult entertainment centers.
I know.
Some of those are become available.
Yep. Some of them are 21 and up. But
yep. So I've heard.
Yep. So.
Go to war.
Yes, you can now. Well, you could actually before you're 18, you can actually register for the Army.
So, Huh.
All right. Well, congratulations. That's a silly thing. Happy birthday. And we're glad that you were able to celebrate it here on
Right
Smashbox.
here. We should have a cake.
Is it our first birthday?
Something like that.
Yeah. Why is
First birthday, wow.
Yeah, first Smashbox birthday.
Yes.
First birthday on
Yes.
Smashbox.
That's pretty
All right.
exciting. All right. Do you guys have anything else you want to share with us? Yeah, you guys might have things to do.
So,
now.
yeah. Now you might have someplace to go. Simon, are you from GBO? Are you the only one that you know flying that Sunday to? Or are you? I don't know.
No, Paul and Nate are flying the same.
Paul and Nate is okay. So I wasn't sure if.
Are you
anyone
all
else-
on the same plan?
I don't know. I don't think so.
Oh, okay.
Paul does Paul have his own Innova plane? Be honest.
Probably.
Well, now that you're 18, you should be able to fly it at least.
That's right. Oh, I was going to ask. Do you know is Avery heading over there as well for that event?
Yeah, he's actually going a week earlier than all of us are.
Okay.
To do some deep in the game stuff and some promotional stuff, and he's also going to stay in Europe for a longer time.
Warriors for Webby.
Very nice. Nice fundraiser. Yep.
That's right.
Very cool. All right. Any parting shots before we let you two go celebrate?
You want to thank your sponsors?
Yeah, let's say at the same time.
We want to thank
Discmania
and Grip
and
Dude.
Throw Colorado and Top Card.
Very cool.
Fantastic.
All right, gentlemen, we appreciate you joining us. Thanks for reaching out. And, of course, we wish you a happy birthday, Eagle. You guys be safe, have fun, travel safely, and I'll be seeing you guys in like 9 days or so. Good luck this weekend.
Great.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
All right,
Thanks,
have a good night,
guys.
guys. Later.
Wow, what a crew.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
He's 18. Yeah, that's.
So, good stuff.
Do you remember what you did on your 18th birthday?
Wow, I don't.
I don't either. I don't remember.
It was around an Amber Pro Worlds time because it is every year.
Yep.
So that is a good question. I don't. It was clearly not that memorable.
No, mine was in March, obviously, and I recall spending. I know I spent it with some friends, but other than that, I there was nothing. I didn't do anything. Now Eagle will always remember that he was on Smashbox.
It's forever. Yeah, right here.
What a special moment for him.
Smashbox TV birthdays. We need cakes and.
Yeah, I didn't have any special
candles.
effects.
Yeah, that's what you need. Some special effects. I don't really have too much more. I think we could probably wrap things up, keep it nice and tight.
Unless anyone has any questions for us, which probably not. But
yeah, if there's any other questions out on the board, we can gladly take those. Conversation, seeing them in Bowling Green. Yes, some of those guys will be there. Again, another. Well, those guys won't be in Bowling Green. I think they must be talking about someone else.
No, well, Simon was at Bowling Green last year, and they were talking about that. So I don't know if they're talking about that this year as well.
Okay. And as we said, I know I put up a post about it a few weeks ago, but there was a throwback post I made to Bowling Green where we had Simon Lizotte doing our whole previews. We had Jamie Thomas working our Smashbox TV camera, and we had Avery Jenkins and I doing co-commentary. That was like the second ever Smashbox live production ever done, and that was the crew. So it's pretty funny where we've all come and what's been happening for the last 3 years. 2014, 15. Yeah, that was just 2 years ago. So do I sell any sniper bags? I don't, but I can certainly get them for you. I'd be happy to do so later. Yeah. Well, I think we're gonna go ahead and cut it. It was great having those guys on the show. Looked like it's been a long day for them. It's certainly been a long day for us. And Texas, looking forward to get down to Texas. Hopefully all this nasty weather's gone in the next week or so when I get down.
Bring some nice weather back, would you?
It's gonna be gorgeous here this week.
It's supposed to be like low 50s.
Or 62 through 77 this week. It's supposed to be like 77 on Saturday.
That's not this week. That's next weekend.
Okay. Okay, go ahead and...
All right. Wednesday, 46, 54, 55, 61, 64, 54.
It's going to be gorgeous.
So it never once gets close to 70.
Gorgeous.
I'm not saying it's not going to be nicer, but
Anyway,
pushing mid-50s.
it's going to be gorgeous. All right, so for Smashbox TV, we'd like to thank Eagle and the long-throwing Simon Lizotte as well. Thanks for joining us during the After Show podcast. For Johnny V and myself, we'll catch you next time when you step inside the Smashbox.
We should have said. Can we say it together?
No, I don't want to.